Chapter 1161 The Tiandi Palace was born. 2nd. I should now belong to a 5th-level heavenly Tao ancestor. Yi Tian muttered. Moreover, he is not the kind of 5th heavenly Tao ancestor who has just been promoted, but belongs to the top 5th heavenly Tao ancestor, and his strength is much stronger than before. What's more, he has a forbidden body at the Dacheng level, so he is not afraid even if he fights multiple top 5th level heavenly Tao ancestors alone, and can even save his life in the hands of ordinary 6th level heavenly Tao ancestors. In addition, he has just been promoted to Daozu, and his strength will definitely increase in a short period of time. For example, cultivating a Daqian Dao technique at random, cultivating the exercises at the Daozu level, and so on. In short, as long as he is given a period of time, he can easily break into the realm of the 6th heavenly Tao ancestor. At the same time, in the mysterious ancient world, many true ancestors have broken into the realm of Taoist ancestors. There are no rules and restrictions, as long as the true ancestors are sure to be promoted to Daozu, they can go for promotion. Although many of the true ancestors in the entire Xuanxu ancient world have fallen through the plans of the Tiandi Palace, there are still many true ancestors who have reached the promotion standard. However, some true ancestors were promoted successfully, and some true ancestors failed to be promoted. 29 people. After a period of migration, the human race basically settled in a new territory, which is a territory completely belonging to the human race. Moreover, the human race also gave birth to several Taoist ancestors. After all, not everyone wants to be promoted to the top true ancestor, the strongest true ancestor, and the invincible true ancestor. Many people have no resources, and their talent is just like that. After reaching the peak of the Tao, they began to try to join the Tao. Under such circumstances, the human race will naturally give birth to a few lucky ones, thus succeeding in one fell swoop. And with the passage of time, there will inevitably be more and more Tao ancestors of the human race. However, Yi Tian has very high requirements for the Juji Legion. If you cannot reach the level of the Supreme Taoist Ancestor, don't try to be promoted to the Taoist Ancestor. The Supreme Taoist Ancestor is his minimum requirement for the Genius Taoist Ancestors of the Juji Army. If someone is promoted to the Invincible Taoist Ancestor, and then tries to break through to the Taoist Ancestor, it is naturally better, but that is too difficult. In a flash, 1,000 years have passed. The ancient world of Xuanxu has already initially stabilized, and a large number of unknown territories have also been divided up by forces one by one. And because many fragments of the domain were merged into the ancient continents by the ancient world of Xuanxu, many sects were also transferred from the relic space to the ancient continent of the ancient world of Xuanxu, and recruited geniuses for the entire ancient world of Xuanxu. The ancient world of Xuanxu has gradually developed a sense of the realm, and it is even developing towards the realm. In addition, the ancient world of Xuanxu also continued the division of forces in the vast sea world, dividing the forces from the first layer of the sky to the 9 layers of heaven. In some stars, in the world, the indigenous forces in the Daoshan realm basically belong to the 2nd level and 3rd level forces. The star-horned beasts are divided into the 5th level forces, and the Forbidden Hall is also divided into the 5th level forces. It is a pity that none of the original forces in the Daoshan realm are currently classified as the 6th heavenly power, because the original power in the Daoshan realm is currently a 6th heavenly Daozu. Certainly, those forces in the Hao Hai Sea realm are basically integrated into the Daoshan realm, and they cannot be regarded as the forces in the God and Heaven realm. This day, void vibration, in an area located in the center of the ancient world of Xuanxu, a palace group drilled out of the turbulent flow of time and space. The shock caused was so amazing that many Taoist ancestors came across the divine consciousness. Today, Tiandi Palace was born. Today, the Tiandi Palace was born. Today, Tiandi Palace was born. The voices of the 3 palace masters, Qinglong Palace Master, Junwu Palace Master, and White Tiger Palace Master filled the entire Xuanxu ancient realm. At this moment, all the forces were aware of the birth of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. At this time, the Heavenly Emperor Palace also began to show part of its power, lest other forces seek death to provoke the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Boom! The 3 palace masters released the breath belonging to the half-step domain ancestors one after another, and the terrifying power far surpassed the invincible Taoist ancestors, making all the Taoist ancestors startled. Secondly, the emperors stood around the Tiandi Palace, and the invincible figures seemed to stand in space and time, with dozens of figures, such a terrifying number that made countless forces stunned. This means that the Heavenly Emperor Palace has at least dozens of invincible Tao ancestors, and the 3 Nine Heavens forces have at most a few invincible Tao ancestors. The number of invincible Dao ancestors in Haifeng Mountain is unclear, but not too many. After all, it is not so easy to break through and enter the invincible Daozu. It must be extremely difficult for a Taoist to improve his own avenue to the extreme, thereby sublimating into the invincible Daozu realm. Secondly, the heavenly army of the Heavenly Emperor Palace appeared. The real heavenly army of the Tiandi Palace is composed of Taoist ancestors. The first to third level Taoist ancestors form soldiers, the fourth level heavenly ancestors are the team leaders, the sixth level heavenly ancestors are the team leaders, and the strongest Taoist ancestors are the leaders of the army. The heavenly army is a general term, not a legion. For example, the heavenly army displayed this time consists of 10 legions, namely, the White Tiger Legion, which belongs to the White Tiger Palace Master and is controlled and managed by more than a dozen supreme Taoist ancestors. The Qinglong Legion, which belongs to the Qinglong Palace Master, also consists of more than a dozen strong Dao ancestors. Daozu controls and manages. There is also Junwu Corps, which belongs to Junwu Palace Master, and is also controlled and managed by more than a dozen powerful Daozu. The other 7 legions are Suzaku Legion 420, Taobeard Legion, Tiger Claw Legion, Zon Turtle Legion, Dragon Howl Legion, Golden Crow Legion, and Killing Battle Legion. Each legion has 100,000 people, representing 100,000 Dao ancestors, and 10 legions represent 1,000,000 Dao ancestors. Seeing so many Taoist ancestors, no one was not shocked, even Yi Tian's pupils shrank, realizing the power of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. No wonder the Heavenly Emperor's palace is not panic at all, it keeps killing other forces, and it is not afraid at all. It turns out that the strength of the Heavenly Emperor's palace has already reached this level, no wonder no one dared to provoke the Heavenly Emperor's palace in the Haohai Sea realm. Yi Tian muttered. Today, although Haohai Heizu of the Heavenly Emperor Palace is not there, but with the strength of the Heavenly Emperor Palace, no one dares to provoke the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Of course, the prestige of the Tiandi Palace must be much weaker than before. In addition, the Heavenly Emperor Palace has killed so many true ancestors and Taoist ancestors, and many forces are also very annoyed, and they can't show it on the surface, but they secretly estimate that they are so angry that they may take revenge on the Heavenly Emperor Palace one day. After the Heavenly Emperor's Palace showed its strength, there was no major move, only an announcement was made. All the forces of the 9 heavens need to consecrate some resources to the Heavenly Emperor Palace, and geniuses anywhere in the ancient world of Xuanxu can choose to join the reserve army and the genius barracks of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. This request angered many forces. Chapter 1162 The Battle Between the Ancestors of the Half-Step Domain. Third. The Tiandi Palace used to collect offerings in the Haohai Sea realm at the beginning, but the Haohai Sea realm belonged to the Haohai Sea ancestor and the Tiandi Palace. At that time, no one dared to object to the collection of offerings by the Tiandi Palace, and no one said anything. But now, this is the ancient world of Xuanxu, and the Heavenly Emperor Palace still wants to do this, how can other forces be willing? Boom! A half-step domain ancestor consciousness incarnation descended and approached the Heavenly Emperor Palace. This half-step domain ancestor is the town domain Taoist ancestor. Master Qinglong Palace, your Heavenly Emperor Palace is too domineering, why do you want us to consecrate resources? This is the ancient world of Xuanxu, not the world of Haohai. The Taoist ancestor of the town said coldly. Wow! The master of Qinglong Palace appeared and sneered. Why, you used to be under the jurisdiction of our Heavenly Emperor Palace, and now you have come to the Daoshan realm, you want to leave our Heavenly Emperor Palace. As for why, then let me tell you, the Heavenly Emperor Palace relies on strength. Zhenyu Daozu smiled and said, I admit that your Heavenly Emperor Palace is far more powerful than the Zhouzhongtian forces, but you are not a legendary force without a domain ancestor. Your Heavenly Emperor Palace now has only 3 half-step domain ancestors, but in addition to your Heavenly Emperor Palace, there are more than 3 half-step ancestors in the ancient world of Xuanxu. He was threatening the Heavenly Emperor Palace and angered everyone. All the half-step ancestors united, and the Heavenly Emperor Palace could not compete. Zhenyu Daozu, are you threatening me? Qinglong Palace Master said coldly. Don't dare. The Taoist Patriarch of Zhenyu slightly cupped his hands. I'm just talking about the interests of the Qinglong Palace Master, but I don't mean to threaten the Heavenly Emperor Palace. You think our Heavenly Emperor Palace can't kill you? The Qinglong Palace Master was very angry. When did a mere half-step ancestor dare to threaten the Heavenly Emperor Palace? Of course the Heavenly Emperor Palace has the ability to kill me, but can it kill our 3 half-step ancestors? As soon as the voice of the Taoist ancestor in the town fell, the breath of 2 half-step ancestors emerged. Woohoo! The incarnations of the two half-step ancestors descended and came to the front of the Tiandi Palace. These two people are the half-step domain ancestor of Mi Tianzong, Magu Daozu, and the other is the half-step domain ancestor of Tianheizong, Tianfan Daozu. Qinglong Palace Master carefully stared at Magu Daozu and Tianfan Daozu, and quickly recognized them. Magu Daozu, Tianfan Daozu, I didn't expect you two to enter the realm of half-step ancestors. Palace Master Qinglong was a little surprised. At this time, he finally understood why the Zhenyu Daozu was so confident. When the Zhenyu Daozu met the Zhenwu Palace Master, he was not so confident. Now, Daozu of Zhenyu has reached some kind of cooperation agreement with Daozu Magu and Daozu of Tianfan, and the three half-step ancestors have united to fight against the three palace masters of Tiandi Palace. Interesting, you think that the number of half-step ancestors is the same as that of our Heavenly Emperor Palace, so we can compete with our Heavenly Emperor Palace, and today I will let you know that there is a difference between the half-step ancestors and the half-step ancestors. I alone can suppress you. Qinglong Palace Master gave a cold drink. Boom! The momentum belonging to the ancestors of the half-step domain exploded wildly, instantly smashing the incarnations of the Taoist ancestors of the town, the ancestors of the Magu, and the ancestors of the Tianfan Taoist, and immediately moved towards the real bodies of the three ancestors of the half-step domain. Boom! The true bodies of Magu Daozu, Zhenyu Daozu, and Tianfan Daozu came out of the sect and fought against the Qinglong Palace Master in the endless void. They also want to know how powerful the Qinglong Palace Master, who has not been shot for endless years. And this battle has also attracted too many Taoist ancestors to observe. As for the true ancestor level, I'm sorry, I don't even have the qualifications to observe. Once the true ancestor dares to observe this level of battle, a wisp of breath can cause damage to them regardless of distance across time and space, unless the supreme true ancestor is qualified to observe such a battle. The Taoist ancestors of Zhenyu thought they could have an advantage by fighting 1 out of 3, but they found that they were wrong. As the Qinglong Palace Master said, there is also a gap between the half-step domain ancestor and the half-step domain ancestor. 90% forbidden body, how did you do it? The Taoist ancestor of the town was incredulously shocked to see the Qinglong Palace Master who urged the Jucheng taboo body to keep fighting. Although their 3 half-step ancestors are also taboo bodies, they have only been tempered to the level of 80%. It is not that they do not want to continue tempering, but it is too difficult. After tempering 80% of the forbidden body, it seems that he has fallen into a shackle. No matter how many forbidden strange objects or even forbidden treasures are refined, there is no way to continue tempering the forbidden body. But Qinglong Palace Master has tempered the forbidden body to 90%, what a heaven-defying thing. Ignorance, how can you imagine the background of our Heavenly Emperor Palace? Qinglong Palace Master sneered. The power of the Qinglong Palace Master is not only in the 90% taboo body, but the taboo Dao power in the whole body is also extremely pure, as if it has been completely transformed into the dark taboo power. In addition, the Qinglong Palace Master also mastered many forbidden Dao techniques, and the forbidden Dao was also very advanced, far from being comparable to the powerhouses who had just entered the half-step domain ancestor. Although Zhenyu Daozu, Magu Daozu, and Tianfan Daozu are not the first half-step ancestors, they are still too young compared to Qinglong Palace Master. The half-step domain ancestors' fights are not so gorgeous, some are just close combat, and a casual strike is a perfect use of the forbidden power, far exceeding those so-called supreme Taoism. Yi Tian was also watching this battle, and he was very fascinated by it. His fighting skills seemed to surpass Dao in everything. It has to be said that compared to these half-step ancestors, the gap between him is really huge. It is not the gap in strength, but the gap in realm. Boom! The master of the Qinglong Palace slammed the Daozu of Zhenyu with a punch, and then kicked the ancient Daozu of Femi with a kick. With a collision, he directly knocked the Daozu of Tianfan down into countless territories. The battle of the 4 half-step ancestors gradually entered the time and space turbulence, and set off a time and space storm in the time and space turbulence. At this time, there are fewer people who can enter the turbulent flow of time and space to observe. Basically they are relatively powerful Taoist ancestors. With the passage of time, Daozu of Zhenyu, Daozu of Magu, and Daozu of Tianfan began to suffer injuries, which is enough to prove that the Qinglong Palace Master really has the strength to kill them alone. Of course, Qinglong Palace Master wants to kill any of them. It is more difficult to kill half-step ancestors. Half-step ancestors are not so easy to kill. Unexpected, Zhenyu Daozu took out his own taboo weapon, which was a top-level taboo weapon. Miki and Tien Brahma Dao ancestor are no exception, the same equipment, ranking top rank. The three half-step ancestors used top-level forbidden weapons, and their strength skyrocketed, and they were able to compete with the Qinglong Palace Master all at once. Quote. Hee hee, do you think you only have forbidden weapons? The Qinglong Palace Master sneered. Immediately, he took out a sword, which contained the breath of the ancestors of the domain. As soon as the sword came out, the Daozu of Zhenyu, the Taoist of Magu, and the Taoist of Tian Brahma all changed their expressions, and they all said in unison. Half-Ranger. Chapter 1163 The First Generation of the King and the King of the Sky. Fourth more. Strictly speaking, the half-domain device is also a taboo weapon, but it surpasses the top-level forbidden weapons, but it does not reach the level of the domain device. But even so, the half-domain device is very precious, and it can release a trace of the power of the domain ancestor, and the increased combat power is very terrifying. In addition, the half-field device is very sharp, and can easily penetrate the general forbidden body. I saw that the master of the Qinglong Palace held a half-field weapon, the Qinglong sword, and stabbed the Daozu of Zhenyu with a sword. No matter how powerful the defense of Daozu of the town was, he was pierced by this sword, and then pierced his body. This sword hurt him, and the injury was not light. The Qinglong Palace Master, holding the Azure Dragon Sword, has skyrocketed in combat power. He already has the real means to kill a half-step domain ancestor, and not relying on time to kill a half-step domain ancestor, but to kill a head-on in a short period of time. Half-step domain ancestor. Even so, the three half-step ancestors besiege the Qinglong Palace Master, but over time, the three half-step ancestors may fall. The Daozu of Zhenyu finally understood why the Qinglong Palace Master was so confident. Even if the three half-step ancestors came, the other party did not take them seriously. It turned out that the strength of the two sides is really very different. Retreat immediately and agree to our Heavenly Emperor Palace's request, otherwise I wouldn't mind beheading a half-step ancestor today. 420 Qinglong Palace Master threatened. The Daozu of Zhenyu, the Daozu of Magu, and the Daozu of Tianfan were very entangled. When they were in the Haohai Sea realm, they were suppressed by the Haohai Sea ancestor on the top of their heads. They did not dare to be arrogant or even show their faces. Rush into the realm of the ancestors of the domain, and be able to sit on an equal footing with the ancestors of the Haohai Sea. But they underestimated the difficulty of becoming a domain ancestor, and they are still far away from the domain ancestor level. I thought that when I came to the Daoshan realm, I could get rid of the jurisdiction of the Tiandi Palace, and from then on, I could dominate my life, be above the rules, and be the person who played chess. But they never expected that they would still be unable to beat the Azure Dragon Palace Master, and would be threatened by the Azure Dragon Palace Master. They are not happy. Mysterious ancient world. A large number of Taoist ancestors watched this battle, and they were also shocked by the invincible combat power of Qinglong Palace Master. One person suppressed the three half-step ancestors. How powerful and terrible is this? I didn't expect that the three half-step ancestors of Mi Tianzong, Wanyu Temple, and Tianheizong could not compete with Qinglong Palace Master of Tiandi Palace. Yi Tian muttered. As a result, even if there were only 3 palace masters in the Heavenly Emperor Palace, other forces would not be able to compete with the Heavenly Emperor Palace at all. I just don't know if Haifeng Mountain will have half-step domain ancestor intervening this time. Just when Yi Tian thought like this, the battle in the turbulent time and space changed. Boom! The turbulent flow of time and space suddenly solidified, as if someone had frozen the space and time here in an instant, and even the thoughts of many Taoist ancestors were frozen in the turbulent flow of time and space. This kind of change made many Taoist ancestors panic, and they didn't understand what was going on. But those more powerful Tao ancestors are very clear that this is the half-step domain ancestor who is proficient in the forbidden way of time and space. The first generation king of the Black Wind Mountain and the first generation of the Empty King, are you too? Qinglong Palace Master said solemnly. He could not care about the 10,000 Domains Temple, the Heavenly Sect and the Heavenly Sea Sect, and he could even regard them as ants, but he could not ignore Haifeng Mountain. Because Black Wind Mountain is an external force, it has existed for too long, and it is impossible to even investigate its root cause. In short, Haifeng Mountain is older than Tiandi Palace. Once, when Haohai Heizu was still the invincible Taoist ancestor, the first generation of Shiwang and the first generation of Kongwang were hidden behind the scenes. At that time, Haifengshan had no idea how many generations of kings it had developed. However, when Haohai Heizu became a half-step domain ancestor and competed for the position of the world master, King Shi and Kongwang also appeared, but they were defeated by Haohai Heizu. Later, How Hai Heizu took over the position of the realm master and used the resources of a realm to achieve the position of the realm. The existence of step domain ancestors. Because he was afraid of the mystery of Haifeng Mountain, and because Haifeng Mountain did not cause trouble and was not a big threat, How Hai Heizu let go of Haifeng Mountain. But now, King Shi and King Kong appeared again. The Qinglong Palace Master had to pay attention to these two powerful half-step domain ancestors who had fought with How Hai Hai ancestor. Originally, he expected these two to leave the How Hai Sea realm, so he did not follow the fragments of the realm to the Daoshan realm. But he guessed wrong, these two really came. This is very terrifying. Haifeng's strength is unfathomable if he can hide from the investigation of How Hai Sea ancestor. Wow, two figures came out from the depths of the turbulent time and space. They did not wear masks because they were no longer the King of Time and King of Space in the Black Wind Mountain. There will always be only 10 Haifeng Mountain 10 kings. Once they abdicate, they must restore their original titles. Palace Master Qinglong, you can call me the Eternal Taoist. The first generation king said. Qinglong Palace Master, you can call me the Taoist ancestor of Shenshu. The first generation of empty kings. Eternal Tao ancestor, Shenshu Tao ancestor, I know. Qinglong Palace Lord nodded slightly, and then asked again, what are you two doing here? 1. Eternal Daozu said. It's nothing, it's just that the Heavenly Emperor Palace ordered all the forces to hand over resources, this is a bit too much. I think the Heavenly Emperor Palace needs to revoke this regulation. What do you think of the Qinglong Palace Master? Yes, Qinglong Palace Master said with a smile, but you must defeat me. When the time comes, I will see how capable the two who competed with How Hai Sea ancestor are today. A strong fighting spirit erupted from the Qinglong Palace Master, and there was a hint of Yuzu's demeanor. I will fight against the Qinglong Palace Master. 1. Eternal Daozu said. As soon as the words fell, Eternal Daozu and Qinglong Palace Master fought, and the two of them had almost no nonsense. Boom! The war set off the collapse of the turbulent flow of time and space, and sections of the region were cut off, which almost affected the operation of the ancient world of Xuanxu, resulting in changes in the passage of time in many regions. The Azure Dragon Palace Master has the Azure Dragon Sword, but the Eternal Tao Ancestor also has a half-field weapon, Time God Eye. This Time Deep Eye is integrated into the eyes of the Eternal Tao Ancestor, which can fix the time and space, release the terrifying taboo time rules, and cooperate with the Eternal Tao Ancestor's taboo time Tao technique, which can make other half-step ancestors in time chaos, and it is very difficult to fight. Pain. The Qinglong Palace Master and the Eternal Tao Ancestor also fell into this depressed mood. On the whole, the Eternal Tao Ancestor is a little weaker than him, but he can't help the Eternal Tao Ancestor. At this time, the Taoist ancestor of Shenshu also took action. Chapter 1164 The Great King. 5th. The strength of the Taoist ancestors of Shenshu is similar to that of the Eternal Taoist ancestors. But the key point is that Shenshu Daozu and Eternal Daozu are proficient in Taboo Time Road and Forbidden Space Road respectively. The combined power of the two is far greater than 1+1, so when Shenshu Daozu participates in the battle, he and Eternal Daozu instantly suppress Qing dynasty. Lord of the Dragon Palace. Collapse. The Qinglong Palace Master was instantly blasted away by the two forbidden Taoist techniques of Eternal Daozu and Shenshu Daozu, and the Qinglong sword in his hand also collapsed and flew out, but he was summoned to his hand again. I saw the blood on the hands of the master of the Qinglong Palace. Although it was not a serious injury, it represented a signal. He can't beat the alliance between Daozu Shenshu and Daozu Eternal. Boom! The White Tiger Palace Master and the Junwu Palace Master also came to the Qinglong Palace Master's side, and confronted the Shenshu Daozu and the Eternal Daozu. Palace Master Qinglong, revoke the previous announcement. The Heavenly Emperor Palace is absolutely not allowed to collect resources from major forces, nor to order other forces to do things. If the Heavenly Emperor Palace wants to accept affiliated forces, it belongs to you, but the three heavenly forces it is not allowed to become an affiliate faction. Eternal Daozu suggested. The Qinglong Palace Master wanted to get angry, but the White Tiger Palace Master agreed, yes. As soon as these words came out, it was considered that the Heavenly Emperor Palace was softened. The Qinglong Palace Master was very angry and looked at the White Tiger Palace Master. White Tiger Palace Master, why did you agree? With the strength of our Heavenly Emperor Palace, we don't need to be afraid of their Black Wind Mountain. I don't know what the voice transmission of the White Tiger Palace Master said. After the Qinglong Palace Master heard it, he quickly calmed down. He turned around and left the space-time turbulence area with the White Tiger Palace Master and the Junwu Palace Master and returned to the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Shenshu Daozu and Eternal Daozu also turned and left. The three half-step ancestors of Mi Tianzong, Tianheizong, and Wanyu Temple also left one by one, and the turbulent flow of time and space began to stabilize, and it would not take long for this place to recover. The many Taoist ancestors who were watching also withdrew their consciousness one by one, and discussed them privately one by one. This time, although the Heavenly Emperor Palace showed its terrifying strength, other forces, especially Haifeng Mountain, sent two half-step ancestors all at once, which was enough to shock all the forces and listed Haifeng Mountain as the second largest after the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Power. Human race. There was one person standing beside Yi Tian, it was Ouyang Jor. At this time, Ouyang Jor also entered the realm of Taoist ancestors. Jor, the strength of the Heavenly Emperor Palace doesn't seem to be very strong. I didn't expect that Haifeng Mountain actually has two half-step ancestors. In that case, the Haifeng Mountain can join forces with a single Nine Heavens force to be enough to compete with the Heavenly Emperor Palace. 1. Yi Tian whispered, Brother Yi, you have underestimated the power of the Haohai Sea realm. Find the realm of God and heaven and reveal all your strength, which means that it is not long before the annihilation. If there is no war to destroy the sect, you have no idea how terrifying the background of a power is. Are you sure that there are only three half-step ancestors in the Tiandi Palace? This. Yi Tian shook his head, he couldn't guarantee it. If nothing else, there are definitely more than two half-step ancestors in Haifeng Mountain. Ouyang Jor said. What, there are more than two half-step ancestors in Haifeng Mountain? Yi Tian was shocked. Ouyang Jor smiled and said, Do you remember the three mountain masters I mentioned to you? Remember. Yi Tian nodded. Eternal Dao Ancestor and Shenshu Dao Ancestor are not mountain masters. They are the first generation of Shiwang and Kongwang, who belong to the three major mountain masters. Ouyang Jor explained. The identity of the three mountain masters was also very mysterious at the beginning. And it is too old, there is no information recorded, even I do not know. But if they are alive, they will definitely be stronger than King Shi and King Kong. Besides, the first generation of 10 kings does not mean that they are the strongest. For example, your master is not your opponent now. Could it be that he is of higher rank, so his strength must be stronger than that of the latecomers? It makes sense. Yi Tian suddenly realized, if you say that, the strength of Haifeng Mountain is too terrifying. Actually, this time, the Heavenly Emperor Palace is not really trying to lead the major forces, they are just testing it. Ouyang Jor guessed. Try, could it be that Qinglong has been acting before? Yi Tian frowned. Acting is not enough, but the Qinglong Palace Master just wants to force out the half-step ancestors hidden behind the scenes. This time, if he can force out 5 half-step ancestors, the purpose of the Tiandi Palace has been achieved. The power of the Heavenly Emperor Palace has been hidden a lot, and this time it has not been exposed, but the Palace Lord is indeed the strongest combat power of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. At most, the Heavenly Emperor Palace has hidden some half-step ancestors, not as deep as Haifeng Mountain. After all, the Heavenly Emperor Palace is relatively young, not as old as Haifeng Mountain. But after all, the Heavenly Emperor Palace has living domain ancestors, leaving behind a lot of trump cards, maybe some of them can kill a half-step domain ancestor with one blow. A for Flowersa, Ouyang Jor told the story. Listening to Ouyang Jor's remarks, Yi Tian had to sigh that almost all the powers in the realm of the gods were LYB, which was like the powers in the realm of Daoshan, all of them were pure and simple, with almost no hidden power. This day, Yi Tian came to the Wind King small realm. This time, he came to see the Wind King, and by the way he became the Heavenly King of Haifengtian. After all, he was already a Taoist ancestor, and it would not be suitable for him to serve as a Heavenly General. Of course, the status of the Heavenly General itself is higher than the General Heavenly King, so Yi Tian became the Heavenly King is not an ordinary Heavenly King, but a great Heavenly King, above other Heavenly Kings, fearing under 10 kings. Point 0. Wind King. Yi Tian saw the real body of the Wind King, and what was different from before was that the Wind King wore a mask this time and could not know his true face. Obviously, the face revealed by the incarnation of consciousness in the past must be an illusion, not the real face, otherwise it will not be the real face now. No need to represent masks. Juji Tianzhong, you are here, no, you should be called Juji Tianwang. Wind King. Immediately, the Wind King took out the Heavenly King's token, and it was a pure black Heavenly King's token containing taboo rules. This was a rare great Heavenly King's token in Haifeng Mountain. The Wind King ordered Yi Tian to make Yi Tian, representing Yi Tian as the Heavenly King of Haifeng Mountain. Afterwards, a feast was held inside the Black Wind Mountain to celebrate Yi Tian's becoming the great heavenly king. There were not only many heavenly kings in the dojo, but also the Wind King, Fire King, Gold King, Wood King, Ice King and She King. However, the invincible Taoist ancestors and the half-step ancestors were not everywhere. This is also normal. If they all need to be present at the feast of a mere king, wouldn't they have to be busy? If it wasn't for this time when the Heavenly Emperor Palace forced Eternal Daozu and Shenshu Daozu to be born, even the heavenly kings of Haifeng Mountain would not know that Haifeng Mountain was so powerful. After the feast was held, Yi Tian entered the Heavenly King's bookstore in Haifeng Mountain. This time, he is going to choose some Daqian Dao techniques to practice. Chapter 1165 Successful Creation, Juji Dao Canon. 6th More. The power of the Great Thousand Dao technique is much stronger than that of the Middle Thousand Dao technique. At the level of Yi Tian, even if the Middle Thousand Dao technique reaches the limit level, the power is still the same, at most equivalent to the entry-level Great Thousand Dao technique. But some powerful Daqian Dao techniques are much more powerful than the middle thousands of Dao techniques at the extreme level. Yi Tian has not mastered a Great Thousand Dao technique, so naturally he has to choose some Great Thousand Dao techniques. There are a lot of Daqian Dao techniques in the Haifeng Mountain Tianhuang Library, and there are hundreds of inheritances in total. These are all open inheritances. Anyone who has just entered the Heavenly King is eligible to choose 3 Daqian Dao techniques. And Yi Tian, as the Great Heavenly King, has the right to choose 10 Great Thousand Dao techniques. This is the treatment of the Great Heavenly King, and there is no need to worry about the Great Thousand Dao technique. And like some Taoist ancestors of small forces, let alone the Daqian Daoshu, there is no way to even obtain the 420 of the Middle Thousand Daoshu. Yi Tian flipped through the inheritance brief of each Great Thousand Dao technique, and after a long time, finally determined 10 Great Thousand Dao techniques. The Great Thousand Dao technique, Heavenly Illusory Step. Daqian Dao Shu, 9 turns Immortal Golden Body. The Great Thousand Dao technique, Taiku Slashing Technique. Daqian Dao Shu, Soul Golden Bell Art. Great Thousand Dao technique, Taiku Desolate Body. These 5 Daqian Dao techniques are the Daqian Dao techniques that Yi Tian is more satisfied with. Among them, the Primordial Desolate Body is an advanced Daqian Dao technique of the Dawang Dharma. He has already cultivated the Dawang Dharma to the extreme level, so if he cultivates the Immemorial Desolate Body, will be much easier. In addition, he chose the Daqian Dao technique of the bondage type, the 10-direction fixed space technique, and the tracking type Daqian Dao technique, the 3 fruits Heavenly Eye technique. The remaining 3 doors are all attack type Daqian Dao techniques, the 5 elements Holy Light technique, the infinite space spear, and the time and space interruption technique. Among them, the time-space truncation technique is the most bizarre. Although it is an attack-like Dao technique, it does not directly hurt people. Instead, it cuts a person's body into 2 pieces and sends them into different time and space, making it difficult for the enemy to heal the body, stand up. But once one part of the body is given up, the strength will drop a lot. But the attack power of this Great Thousand Dao technique is too weak. For an enemy of the same level, it can't cut the opponent's body at all. Therefore, this is a bit of a tasteless Daqian Dao technique. However, nothing is absolute, and in some cases, the time-space truncation technique is definitely an incomparable Great Thousand Dao technique. After choosing these 10 Dao techniques, Yi Tian inherited them one by one. After that, Yi Tian continued to browse various books in the library, increasing his knowledge and background. He also needs to create a Taoist practice method that suits him. Otherwise, he can only slowly accumulate forbidden Taoist power and soul power at the level of Taoist ancestors. At the beginning, the improvement of strength will not have any effect, but it will be more difficult in the later stage. Therefore, a Taoist practice method that perfectly fits itself must be created. If Yi Tian was allowed to create slowly, it would probably take a long time, but Haifeng Mountain had a lot of background. For example, the Heavenly King can enter the Hall of Chuang Gong Dao in Haifeng Mountain, so as to carry out the creation method. The Hall of Chuang Gong Dao has the perception of countless powerful ancestors creating exercises, and it can also greatly improve the perception, and at the same time build 100,000 times the time acceleration. It is the most suitable place to create merit. Certainly, if the Chuang Gong Dao temple is opened, the resources of the previous 10,000 years will be provided by Haifeng Mountain, and the latter will need to be provided by themselves. Under normal circumstances, 10,000 years is enough time for a Taoist ancestor to create a Taoist temple that suits him. But Yi Tian is different. His foundation is too strong, the Taoist practice method suitable for him must be very powerful, so the time he needs will definitely be very long, it must be more than 10,000 years. The Chuanggong Dao Hall is very simple and simple. Yi Tian entered it and sat cross-legged directly on the Chuanggong Dao Hall dedicated to Chuanggong Dao in the center. Immediately, the hall of Chuanggong Dao opened. Boom! One after another illusory silhouettes appeared, all of them were ancient seniors. Yi Tian saw a little insight when they created their merits. Everyone left behind their understanding of creating merits. Perhaps what one person left behind was limited, but the things left behind by countless people are extremely precious. Yi Tian comprehended little by little, and then started to create his own Taoist script from scratch, building the foundation of the Taoist script step by step. Time passed slowly, and the outside world gradually passed thousands of years. On the other hand, Yi Tian supplemented the energy required for the opening of the Chuanggong Dao Temple, and a large amount of energy Dao stones were consumed, but Yi Tian didn't care at all. In this way, 10,000 years and 10,000 years have passed. Until the 130,000th year of the outside world, Yi Tian finally stopped the operation of the Temple of Creation. Finally created, Yi Tian walked out of the hall of Chuanggong Dao and said with a sigh of relief. After such a long period of time, and he also used a number of forbidden and strange objects that can improve his understanding, he successfully created his own Taoist scripture by comprehending the experience of countless ancestors. Yi Tian named this Tao code the Juji Dao code. Juji Taoism involves some taboos. If it is cultivated for other people, it cannot be cultivated at all, it is only suitable for him to cultivate. It allows Yi Tian to use the forbidden Tao to improve his cultivation strength and continuously improve his body, soul, and forbidden Tao power, which is far from comparable to other Tao canon. Now that the Taoist scriptures are available, and the Daqian Taoism technique is also available, then it is time to go back to retreat and practice. Yi Tian muttered. This time in retreat, he believes that his strength will inevitably skyrocket, and it is inevitable to enter the 6th layer of Heavenly Tao Ancestors' combat power. Wow! Yi Tian left the Wind King's small realm and returned to the human race. In the days that followed, Yi Tian began to announce that he was in retreat, devote himself to cultivating the Great Thousand Tao technique and Juji Dao canon. Days have passed, and the changes in the ancient world of Xuanshu are changing with each passing day. The human race has become stronger and stronger, more and more true ancestors are born, and more geniuses are born. And everywhere in the ancient world of Xuanshu, the primordial chaotic life was gradually born. These primordial chaos 5.8 chaotic beings are powerful and talented, and they have been brought into the sect by the great forces to cultivate. After all, any primordial chaotic life can grow into a true ancestor with a little cultivation. Therefore, the primordial primal chaos life is definitely one of the races that the major sects like to recruit most, and they are recruited directly without any assessment. Talents, Xu Guang's disciples are also challenged and famous. For example, Emperor Fengyang, one of the top 10 emperors of this generation of Tiandi Palace, challenged the true ancestors of the 3-level heaven powers, defeated the invincible true ancestors of the sects, and his reputation shook the entire Xuanshu ancient world, and even some of the top 3-level ancestors. Tian's invincible Daozu wanted to challenge him, but was easily defeated by him. This day, he passed by the human race and wanted to challenge the true ancestor of the human race. Chapter 1166 The Emperor and Hash039's Visit. First update, please complete order. Outside the territory of the human race, a group of people came here. This is a group of Taoist ancestors supporting a young man in golden armor, and this young man is one of the 10 emperors of the Tiandi Palace. The identity of the emperor is very precious. Whether it is potential, talent, or strength, he is one of the top 10 talents in the Tiandi Palace Genius Camp, and he must be young enough, otherwise he is not qualified to become an emperor. And once the emperor is caught up, he will be deprived of the title of emperor. Therefore, the emperors of the Tiandi Palace are all trying to improve their strength and show their prestige. Emperor Fengyang took the lead out of the Heavenly Emperor Palace, challenged the true ancestors of various forces, and became famous in the ancient world. If he successfully swept the disciples of countless forces, once he returned to the Heavenly Emperor Palace, he would definitely get a great reward. Emperor Fengyang, the human race doesn't have a powerful true ancestor. The former method true ancestor was indeed very strong, but he was the supreme true ancestor, but now he is the Taoist ancestor. Except for Wanfa Daozi, the genius of the human race is too weak. Quote. A 5th-level Heavenly Tao ancestor who accompanied him said. He is one of the guards of Emperor Fengyang, Lei Daozu. Although he is a 5th-level Tian Dao ancestor, he has no potential, so he was assigned to Emperor Fengyang's side 29 and served as the captain of the guard. Lian, it's because the human race doesn't have any powerful true ancestors, so I am going to challenge. If I swept the true ancestors of the human race, will the Taoist ancestor be very angry? I just like to see such monsters angry. Emperor Fengyang said coldly, but there was still a trace of jealousy in the words. That's right, he was jealous of Yi Tian. Why was Yi Tian able to break into the ranks of the supreme true ancestor, but he couldn't? He has reached the pinnacle of the invincible true ancestor, and his strength is almost impossible to improve. There are two choices for him in front of him, one is to attack the Tao ancestor level, the other is to continue to attack the supreme true ancestor. But he is not happy. Therefore, this time, he stepped out to challenge the genius true ancestors of the major sects, not only to stabilize his position, but also to gain a little insight in the battle, thus breaking into the ranks of the supreme true ancestors. Although this step is very difficult, there is almost no hope, but as long as there is a glimmer of hope, he will do it. Soon, Emperor Fengyang came to the human race. The true ancestors of the human race had naturally heard the reputation of Emperor Fengyang, and knew that Emperor Fengyang came from the palace of Heavenly Emperor, so they sent many people to greet Emperor Fengyang. Human race, outside the temple. Many true ancestors of the human race and some Taoist ancestors have appeared. Some Taoist ancestors are relatively weak, belong to the first and second heaven Taoist ancestors, and their status may not necessarily be as high as the strongest true ancestors. The real geniuses of the human race are basically in the ranks of the true ancestors, and they have been accumulating strength, and they are not willing to easily break through and enter the ranks of Taoist ancestors. At this time, the Taoist ancestor who was responsible for receiving Emperor Fengyang was the Taoist ancestor of the human race, Qin Tiandaozu, who was once the top genius of the human race. With some opportunities, he became the top real ancestor, but because of an accident, he fell into a place forbidden land. There is no way to contact the outside world, only to break into the ranks of Taoist ancestors and forcibly break through the forbidden land. At present, he is also the strongest among the Taoist ancestors of the human race, except for Yi Tian. He is a top second-level Taoist, and he is not far from breaking through the third-level Taoist. Qin Tiandaozu, this time I'm passing through the territory of the human race, and I want to learn from the genius of the human race, is it all right? Emperor Fengyang said. This. Qin Tiandaozu was confused. Could it be that the human race doesn't want to give me this face? Emperor Fengyang pretended to be angry. Naturally not. Qin Tiandaozu quickly explained. It's just that none of our human ancestors are the opponents of Emperor Fengyang, such a test is meaningless. Let's do this, I will suppress the strength of the cultivation base and compete with the geniuses of your human race. If they can hurt me, I will give the true ancestor an inheritance of the Thousand Paths technique, how about that? Emperor Fengyang said. Road. What? Zongqin Daoshu inheritance. Not to mention that the true ancestors were moved, even Qin Tiandaozu was moved. How precious is the inheritance of Zongqin Taoism, the human race is very rare. Yi Tian was able to practice many middle thousand Tao techniques and even great thousand Tao techniques, which came from Black Wind Mountain, and those Tao technique inheritances were not allowed to be passed on to others. In such a long time, Yi Tian has also killed many true ancestors and even Taoist ancestors, but there is almost no Taoism inheritance on those Taoist ancestors and true ancestors, even if there is, it is only a small thousand Taoist inheritance. Therefore, among the inheritance treasure house of the human race temple, there are many inheritances of the small thousand Tao techniques, but the inheritance of the middle thousand Tao techniques is very rare, and there are only a dozen of them. In addition, one less one is used for the inheritance of Zongqin Taoism. Only when that Zongqin Taoism is cultivated to a master level can the inheritance be created. However, Yi Tian had not cultivated the inheritance of the thousand Tao techniques that Yi Tian had captured, so he could not create an inheritance, and the powerhouses of the human race did not dare to trouble Yi Tian to create an inheritance. Therefore, the inheritance of the Zongqin Tao technique of the human race is one less inheritance. If there is no great credit, there is almost no way to obtain a Zongqin Tao technique inheritance. Qin Tiandaozu himself has only been given one Zongqin Tao technique at present, so he also wants more Zongqin Tao techniques. Sure enough, it is a human race with a weak background, and the inheritance of a thousand Tao technique in a mere area makes them show greedy and excited eyes. Emperor Fengyang secretly despised. Of course, the inheritance value of Zongqin Taoism is still very precious, and he will not give it to others casually. This is just to let the true ancestors of the race learn from him. He does not think that these true ancestors can hurt him. Therefore, the human race would not even want to obtain his inheritance of the thousand Dao technique. Okay, our Terran agreed. Qin Tiandaozu agreed. Soon. The genius true ancestors of the human race came from all over the territory of the human race, and every genius true ancestor who came has reached the level of the top true ancestor. This was an incredible thing in the past. In the past, there were only a few top true ancestors in the mighty false innocent kingdom, but now there are dozens of top true ancestors of the Terran 420 casually. On the battle arena outside the temple, Emperor Fengyang let a celebrity clan genius go up, and behind his hands, he only showed a part of his strength, and easily defeated the top true ancestors. Boom! Another top true ancestor was severely injured by Emperor Fengyang and retired. The human race doesn't have the strongest ancestor. Your Wanfa Taoist was once the supreme ancestor, and the human race is also a powerful racial force, so it's not even the strongest ancestor, right? Fengyang Emperor sneered. Qin Tiandaozu was also a little annoyed. He could see that Emperor Fengyang was here to deliberately provoke the human race. It is not that the human race does not have the strongest ancestor, even the invincible ancestor. For example, Xiao Yu, the wife of the true ancestor of Wanfa, and his younger sister Yi Yu, they are all invincible true ancestors, but it is impossible for them to take action, and they are not qualified to mobilize the family of the true ancestor of Wanfa. In addition, there are also true ancestors of the Nine Extremes Corps, but the true ancestors of the Nine Extremes Corps have been practicing in the Nine Extremes space for a long time. In addition to them, there is a place where the human race has the most powerful ancestors, guardians, affiliated to the temple. They are Yi Tian's own geniuses, and they grow in the depths of the human world. Usually in practice, only when the task appears will be dispatched. Let the guardian of the temple take action. Qin Tian ordered someone to invite the guardian of the temple. Humans can be defeated, but they must not be ridiculed. Chapter 1167 Yi Xingchen vs. Emperor Fengyang. 2nd. Deep in the temple, a famous true ancestor is cultivating hard here, and each true ancestor is very powerful, and the best among them have reached the top true ancestor level. They are all guardians of the temple. They not only have high requirements for talent and potential, but also have extremely high requirements for character. Anyone with a slightly poor character or a firm will is not qualified to become a guardian of the human race. Human race guardians are not well known, and it seems that it is not a good job, but their treatment is very good, and they enjoy a lot of resources from the human race, and the best among them will be given to boost strange objects. Unexpected. A true ancestor came here and said, "Every guardian, Emperor Fengyang of Tiandi Palace is here to provoke the human race. At present, the human race does not have the strongest true ancestor to fight. Qin Tiandaozu asked the guardians to send the strongest true ancestor to raise my human race. Power. Qin Tian asked us to learn from the invincible true ancestor. Is he going to be beaten?" A guardian joked, "Let's go, it's beaten anyway, but we must prove that our human race has strength, otherwise even a supreme ancestor does not appear. I am afraid that the outside world will ridicule our human race." A guardian spoke up. He is the true ancestor of Enlan among the guardians. He once served as Yi Xingchen's secret guard. He also reached the level of the supreme true ancestor not long ago, and he is the strongest among the guardians. Enlan Junzu walked out of the retreat space and came to the outside of the temple. "It turns out that your human race has a supreme ancestor. Come up." Emperor Fengyang saw the true ancestor of Enlan and despised it. Enlan Junzu knew that his strength could not be the opponent of Emperor Fengyang, so after playing, he directly displayed his strongest small thousand Dao technique, Shaoshangang sword. This is a swordsmanship. Puff. The small Tiangong sword instantly slashed towards Emperor Fengyang, but was caught by Emperor Fengyang with one hand. Bang! The sword chi disintegrated, but Emperor Fengyang's hand did not have any scars, as if tofu had hit a stone. "Tu Wika." Emperor Fengyang sighed. Immediately, he hit Enlan Junzu with a punch, knocked him out, and slammed into the temple. Qin Tiandaozu was very angry and clenched his fists. It is clearly stated that the suppression of strength is discussed. This is the suppression of strength. If others are the top true ancestors, you will suppress to the strongest true ancestors, and if others are the most powerful true ancestors, you will suppress the top most powerful true ancestors. Is this called suppression? But he didn't dare to question the Emperor Fengyang, because the human race couldn't provoke the Heavenly Emperor Palace, nor could they provoke the Emperor Fengyang. Standing behind Emperor Fengyang is a group of Dao ancestors. All of them are above the strength of the 3rd level Heavenly Dao ancestor, and the most powerful Leian Dao ancestor has reached the 5th level Heavenly Dao ancestor. Among the human race, Yi Tian did not go out, and no one was their opponent. Who else? Emperor Fengyang said in high spirits. All the genius ancestors of the human race did not dare to move, and no one was just playing. After all, they would be beaten when they played. Who would? As for the inheritance of Zongqin Taoism, it is nothing more than catching the moon in the water, and it can't be seen or touched. After a long time, still no one played. It seems that the human race has no genius, I'd better leave. Emperor Fengyang said in a low voice. But the people present are all strong people above the true ancestor, no matter how small the voice is, others can hear it very clearly. A strong individual was angry, but there was nothing he could do. Just then, a voice came. Emperor Fengyang, right, let me challenge you. As soon as the voice fell, a young man came to tear the void. Seeing this person, Qin Tiandaozu was overjoyed. It's the true ancestor of the stars. There are very few people in Qin Tiandao who know the strength of the true ancestor of the stars, this is because of the invincible true ancestor. However, the status of the Xingqian true ancestor was too high, and he did not dare to invite the Xingqian true ancestor. You are Yi Xingqian, the true ancestor of the stars of the human race. Emperor Fengyang also recognized Yi Xingqian. Before, Yi Xingqian roamed all over the ancient world of Xuanxu, and he had some reputation. In addition, Yi Xingqian and Yi Xingyu shined in the Forbidden Forest at the beginning, and they were the top of countless true ancestors with the strength of the younger generation. Although the Heavenly Emperor Palace had not yet been born at that time, information on this aspect was also collected. In his impression, Yi Xingqian is still at the level of the Supreme Ancestor, and even if his strength has advanced greatly, he may not be able to enter the Invincible Ancestor. Moreover, the general Invincible Ancestors are only weak in his eyes. But at this moment, Yi Xingqian standing there actually brought a little pressure to him. How is it possible? I am the ultimate powerhouse of the invincible true ancestor, what kind of thing is he, Yi Xingqian, how could he have caused me pressure? Emperor Fengyang forcibly calmed down. On the surface, he could not see any emotional fluctuations, but he felt nervous in his heart. Go to the top to fight, the space here is too small. Yi Xingqian suggested. It is good. Emperor Fengyang nodded. Swish, Yi Tian kept flying towards the sky, and flew to the top of the endless void. The vast ocean here is boundless, and no matter how much you fight, it will spread to the territory of the human race. Emperor Fengyang knew that Yi Xingqian was the invincible true ancestor, so he no longer suppressed much strength. As soon as he shot it, it was a 1,000-way technique, the golden light technique of the sun. Boom! A golden light containing the phantom of the sun slashed towards Yi Xingqian in an instant. Such terrifying power can make the expressions of the geniuses of the human race who have played before change drastically. If they are faced with such an attack, they will melt and fall in an instant. Death. In the face of Emperor Fengyang's Zongqiandao technique, Yi Xingqian used his own defensive Zongqiandao technique, Xingqian Daoyi. This is a very well-known 1,000-way technique in the star class, and Yi Xingqian relied on his own defense class Dao level natural talent, star armor, as well as many treasures to improve understanding, so he easily cultivated the star clothes to a small level. At the peak level, this is also the only one of his mid-thousand Dao techniques in the peak realm. The star Taoist robe is very gorgeous, and it is split on the body like a beautiful piece of clothing. I saw the golden light of the big sun golden light technique stars bombarded on the stars, and it collapsed immediately, unable to break Yi Xingqian's defense at all. Zongqian Daoshu, Xingqian Daoyi, and it has also reached the realm of small achievement. Emperor Fengyang frowned. Yi Xingqian has such a terrifying defense, and his strength seems to have reached the pinnacle of the invincible true ancestor. It is a little difficult for him to defeat Yi Xingqian. But then, Yi Xingqian showed the taboo body of Shaocheng realm, which completely shocked him. Although it has just been tempered to 40%, it is far from being comparable to the general forbidden body. More importantly, Emperor Fengyang does not have a forbidden body. He is just a true ancestor who uses special secret techniques to contain a trace of forbidden attributes. It is far from being able to control the dark forbidden power, let alone possessing a forbidden body. At this moment, Emperor Fengyang's jealousy broke out completely. Chapter 1168 The Forbidden Weapon is Broken. 3rd. Boom! Emperor Fengyang burst out in anger with all his strength and fought with Yi Xingqian. However, both of them are the pinnacles of the invincible true ancestor, and they are invincible in terms of strength, speed, and defense. But Yi Xingqian has a taboo body of a small level, and the invincible true ancestor can't kill him, and it is even difficult to hurt him, this is his advantage. After half an hour of fighting, Emperor Fengyang consumed a lot of power. He knew very well that he couldn't hurt Yi Xingqian at all, but Yi Xingqian's attack could hit him. Now, he has suffered a serious injury, and the speed of his injury recovery simply can't keep up with the speed of being injured. If this goes on, he will probably lose. No, I can't be defeated. A weak human race doesn't even have a powerful Taoist ancestor. If I lose in the hands of such a human race genius, I will definitely be punished by the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Emperor Fengyang thought to himself. He is very clear that his every move has been in the sight of some Taoist ancestors, and they are also watching this battle. They may be afraid of the Heavenly Emperor Palace and dare not attack him, but once he loses, those guys will probably spread the word everywhere, and then the entire Xuanxu ancient world will know that he was defeated by Yi Xingqian. Once it reaches the time of 420, his face will be completely lost. How can he still mess up? Boom. After Fengyang Emperor and Yi Xingqian collided and separated, Fengyang Emperor took out one of his forbidden weapons, Fengali sword. As one of the Emperor's sons, the biggest advantage is that he can obtain a forbidden weapon forged by the Tiandi Palace, which is also one of the treatments of the Emperor's son. From this, it can be seen how strong the foundation of the Tiandi Palace is. An invincible true ancestor in a mere area has given him a forbidden weapon, while the 6th and 7th heavenly ancestors of other forces have no forbidden weapons, and even some of the strongest ancestors have no forbidden weapons. Certainly, nowadays, with the proliferation of forbidden strange objects, many supreme Taoist ancestors have also created their own forbidden weapons. But even so, the forbidden weapon is enough to make countless Taoist ancestors envious. Forbidden weapons. A series of voices sounded in the void, and it was the Taoist ancestors who were watching. When they saw Emperor Fengyang's forbidden weapons, they were all envious, and even thought of robbing them. But when they thought that Emperor Fengyang came from the Heavenly Emperor Palace, they calmed down one by one. The Heavenly Emperor Palace is the most powerful force in the ancient world of Xuanxu. They can easily kill them by dispatching a supreme Taoist. They don't want to die yet. I saw Emperor Fengyang holding the Wind and Thunder sword, and cut out countless sword lights, and one after another sword light bombarded Yi Xingqian's Xingqian Taoist clothing. Although it was still defended, it made the Xingqian Taoist clothing tremble. Unexpected, Emperor Fengyang quickly approached Yi Xingqian and came close to fight. Puff! The Fengalijian pierced through the Xingqian Taoist robe with powerful taboo rules, and stabbed Yi Xingqian's forbidden body. Yu Wei did not lose much, leaving a wound on Yi Xingqian's body. Ha ha ha, Yi Xingqian, no matter how good your defense is, you can't stop the forbidden weapons, you are not my opponent. Emperor Fengyang said arrogantly. He felt that Yi Xingqian's biggest advantage was the high defense and the taboo body, but the taboo body would also be injured by the forbidden weapon, and the Wind and Thunder sword was designed to break the defense, which contained the taboo, tearing rule. Therefore, he feels that he has the chance to win. Emperor Fengyang, do you think you are the only one with forbidden weapons? Yi Xingqian sneered. Oh, could it be that you also have forbidden weapons? Emperor Fengyang frowned. At this moment, Yi Xingqian grabbed his right hand in the air, and the star blade appeared in his hand. Forbidden weapons. Emperor Fengyang's pupils shrank, and he was immediately shocked. He did not expect that Yi Xingqian also had a forbidden weapon in his hand. Creating a taboo weapon is not a matter of having as many taboo items as possible. You must have embryos that can be used to create taboo weapons. Some weapon-type forbidden items (CJFI) can naturally act as embryos, but weapon-type taboo weapons are too rare, and ordinary low-level, medium-level or even high-level taboo wonders are not eligible as embryos, and they must be top-level forbidden wonders in the weapon category to qualify. But it is more difficult to obtain top-level forbidden weapons, let alone weapons that happen to be forbidden strange objects. Therefore, the number of forbidden weapons in the Xuanxu ancient world is very small. Damn, why does he have everything? Emperor Fengyang said angrily. Compared with Yi Xingqian, he, the Emperor of the Heavenly Emperor Palace, seems to be very ordinary, without any particularity. HMPH, even taboo weapons are strong and weak. Emperor Fengyang continued to fight with Yi Xingqian holding the Fengali sword. Dang dang. In the void, the two forbidden weapons kept colliding, and at the same time, their Taoist arts occasionally collided. Human race, many true ancestors and Taoist ancestors are also watching. A first-level Taoist ancestor sighed. So strong, if I fight with them, I will be killed in a few moves. A second-level Taoist ancestor also smiled bitterly. I am a second-level Taoist, but I can't beat them. Qin Tiandaozu also deeply lamented the strength of Yi Xingqian and Emperor Fengyang. Although he was about to be promoted to the third-level Tiandaozu, he knew very well that he had no confidence in defeating these two invincible true ancestors, will lose. Time passed by, Yi Xingqian and Emperor Fengyang had been at war for a long time. Unexpected, With a click, a crisp sound echoed in the void. At this moment, the expressions of countless people changed drastically. This is the sound of a forbidden weapon being severed. Due to the large fluctuations in the battle between the two, and the fire that erupted at the moment of the collision illuminated the void, it was difficult to see the situation inside clearly. Whose forbidden weapon is broken? Yu Daozu asked. Soon, a figure was knocked out, and it was the embarrassed Fengyang Emperor. At this moment, Emperor Fengyang was holding a broken Fengli sword in his hand, and his face was ashen. Yi Xingchen, you cut off my wind and thunder sword. Emperor Fengyang roared. This is a forbidden weapon. It is a forbidden weapon given to him by the Heavenly Emperor Palace, and it does not completely belong to him for the time being. If he is deprived of his status as an emperor, this forbidden weapon still needs to be returned. Only when he steps into the ranks of Taoist ancestors can he truly possess this forbidden weapon. But now, the wind and thunder sword is broken, and after the Heavenly Emperor Palace finds out, it will definitely punish him heavily, and even strip him of his status as the emperor. Although the wind and thunder sword was cut off by Yi Xingchen, if he didn't fight with Yi Xingchen, would the wind and thunder sword be cut off? Therefore, the Heavenly Emperor Palace will definitely put the fault on him. Simply put, he is finished. Chapter 1169 Yi Xingchen broke into the Supreme. Fourth more. Emperor Fengyang is crazy, he has completely lost the demeanor of an emperor, but is like a demon who has been possessed by a demon. However, how fast he rushed, how fast he was sent flying. I saw Yi Xingchen holding the star blade and slashed at Emperor Fengyang at once, directly piercing Emperor Fengyang, and then slapped Emperor Fengyang out with one palm. The Emperor Fengyang is flowing with the blood of the emperor, and the blood is sprinkled in the void, and he looks as embarrassed. Emperor! A Taoist ancestor rushed over. Several of the Taoist ancestors protected Emperor Fengyang, for fear that Emperor Fengyang would fall and die. You get out of the way, I can fight again. Emperor Fengyang roared. However, those Taoist ancestors did not let Emperor Fengyang fight again, otherwise Emperor Fengyang would fall, or if his mentality exploded again, and his Taoist heart collapsed, they would not be able to escape the blame. So, a famous Taoist ancestor used a Taoist technique to soothe the mind to calm down Emperor Fengyang. After a while, Emperor Fengyang calmed down a little, but his eyes were still full of anger. Lei Yandaozu, kill Yi Xingchen for me. Fengyang Emperor said. This. Lei Yandaozu showed an embarrassed look. Why, can't you? Emperor Fengyang said solemnly. We are the Heavenly Emperor Palace, what is a mere human race? I want to kill an invincible true ancestor of the race, don't I have the qualifications? As for the consequences, I will bear all the consequences. He is the son of Wanfa Daozu. Lei Yandaozu said quickly. Wanfa Daozu is just a Daozu who has just broken through, and now he is only at the realm of the fifth heavenly Daozu. Emperor Fengyang said. Daozu Leiyan wanted to call Emperor Fengyang an idiot, and Daozu Wanfa could offend him. The family is the Taoist ancestor who was promoted to the supreme true ancestor, and the worst achievement in the future is also the invincible Taoist ancestor. Let him kill Yi Xingchen, and the Wanfa Taoist Yi Tian will let him go. Lei Yandaozu, as an emperor, I order you to kill Yi Xingchen. Emperor Fengyang ordered. Yes, Lei Yandaozu replied. He didn't dare to disobey anymore. The rules of the Heavenly Emperor Palace were very strict. If he violated the orders of the emperor at will, even if the Emperor Fengyang was deprived of his status as an emperor, a Taoist like him would be severely punished by the Heavenly Emperor Palace and even killed chickens to warn the monkeys. This is the rule of the Tiandi Palace. If everyone did not follow the rules, how would the Imperial Palace manage that day, and how would it shock the quartet? Even if the order is wrong, cruel, or endangers your life, do it. Boom. Daozu Leiyan took action and used the strength of Daozu of the fifth heaven to suppress Yi Xingchen. Not far away, Yi Xingchen felt the unstoppable power. His strength was at most against the top second-level Heavenly Dao ancestor, but he was far from being able to compete with the fifth-level Heavenly Dao ancestor. The fifth Heavenly Dao ancestor can knock him out with a single blow, and the two are not the same level of existence. Click. The void where Yi Xingchen was located seemed to be squeezed by a terrifying force, making it almost impossible for him to move. I saw Lei Yandaozu walking step by step, and the momentum of the fifth-level Daozu locked Yi Xingchen, making him unable to escape. Lei Yandaozu, don't waste time. Emperor Fengyang urged. Daozu Leiyan sighed. Yi Xingchen, it's a pity that you are from the human race, you don't have a big background, don't blame me. Saying that, he condensed a thunder spear in his hand and stabbed Yi Xingchen. Perhaps because of the crisis of life and death, Yi Xingchen had an epiphany, and the Xingchen Taoist clothing actually broke through. Dacheng Realm's star Taoist clothes appeared, trying to resist Thunder Cloud Taozu's thunder spear. You really defy the sky, and you actually cultivated the Daoyi of the middle thousand Daos in the realm of the invincible ancestors to the realm of Daocheng, but unfortunately you still can't stop this blow. Lei Yin Daozu said regretfully. The thunder spear instantly pierced the Dacheng realm's Xingqian Daoyi, and continued to stab Yi Xingqian. This is still, Yi Xingqian activated one by one life-saving defense, but he was still pierced layer by layer, until Yi Xingqian's body was pierced. I thought that Yi Xingqian would be killed by one blow, but at this time, a large amount of source power emerged in Yi Xingqian's body, which quickly repaired the injury. At this moment, Daozu Leiyan was stunned. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Xingqian left quickly and opened a little distance. I saw Yi Xingqian's wound healed quickly, and the rule of thunder belonging to Leiyan Daozu was also dispelled. At this time, his breath is getting stronger and stronger, and he has already broken the limit of the invincible true ancestor and is transforming towards another realm. You gave birth to the supreme Daoyuan. Leiyan Daozu reacted and said incredulously. Ask for flowers. Not far away, Emperor Fengyong's pupils shrank sharply, and he couldn't believe it. Supreme true ancestor, his goal has always been. He wants to challenge a large number of invincible true ancestors, trying to find the luck of 1 in a billion, so as to break the shackles and be promoted to the supreme true ancestor. But he knew deeply that he had no hope. However, Yi Xingqian broke the shackles in front of him and was promoted to the supreme true ancestor. Kill him, quick, kill him. Emperor Fengyong roared. Daozu Leiyan gritted his teeth and shot again. This time, he is not ready to hold back. It was just a random blow from him just now, and it didn't use any power at all, otherwise it wouldn't kill an invincible ancestor in the dead zone. Even if Yi Xingqian broke through to the supreme true ancestor, it was useless, and he was still far from being able to compete with him. 0. Sky Thunder Spear. This is the Thousand Dao technique of Thunder Cloud Daozu's fame, and its power is terrifying. Puff. The thunder spear pierced through in an instant, not to mention that Yi Xingqian was only in the transformation of the Supreme True Ancestor. Even if he was in the real Supreme True Ancestor's combat power, he would be instantly killed in an instant. I can't stop it, Yi Xingqian said in despair. The excitement of breaking through to the Supreme True Ancestor was all gone, and he could only smile bitterly and close his eyes. Just then, a familiar voice came. A 5th-level Taoist ancestor who has exhausted his potential dares to kill my son. As soon as the voice fell, a figure came out from the void, holding the Sky Thunder Spear with one hand, and then squeezed it lightly, and the Sky Thunder Spear shattered instantly. Then, this person seemed to come to Leiyan Daozu in an instant, and his right hand containing the forbidden power suddenly pinched Leiyan Daozu's neck. At the same time, a shackled Dakian Dao technique suppressed Leiyan Daozu, making it difficult for him to move. You are going to kill my son? The man asked. Only then did Leiyan Daozu clearly see the appearance of the person who came, and he was the Daozu of Wanfa. Wanfa Daozu, it's you. Leiyan Daozu was terrified. He never imagined that Wanfa Daozu was so powerful that he was like an ant in front of Wanfa Daozu. After the Supreme True Ancestor became Dao Ancestor, was he so powerful? Chapter 1170 Emperor Fengyong, Die. 5th more. Emperor Fengyong was also stunned. Didn't it mean that the Daozu of Wanfa only became Daozu not long ago? How could he be so powerful? After all, Leiyan Daozu is also the 5th-level Taoist ancestor, and he is still the best among the 5-level Taoist ancestors. He was a little flustered. His most powerful guard now is Daozu Leiyan, and the other Daozis are relatively weak, and they are simply not enough for Daozu Wanfa to fight alone. Leiyan Daozu couldn't move at the moment, and quickly begged for mercy. Wanfa Daozu, forgive me. Forgive me, Yi Tian said coldly. If I don't come, won't my son die at your hands? How dare you beg for mercy? The voice just fell. Yi Tian motivated the dark forbidden power to continuously invade the body of Leiyan Daozu, and also performed a great 1000-way technique, the Soul Golden Bell technique. I saw an illusory Soul Golden Bell appeared between Yi Tian's eyebrows, rushed into the soul realm of Leiyan Daozu, and kept shaking in his soul realm. 40-20. Ah, Leiyan Daozu screamed. He felt as if his soul was about to be shattered. No, it was really shattered, but relying on the strong tenacity and resilience of Daozu's soul, he began to heal again. That's it, heal, shatter, heal. With the passage of time, Leiyan Daozu's breath is getting lower and lower. Yi Tian accelerated the time around. It seemed that a long time had passed, but in the eyes of the outside world, only a moment had passed. Suddenly, Leiyan Daozu's breath completely disappeared, his soul was broken, and his body was also shattered under the erosion of the dark forbidden power. Thundercloud Daozu, fall. After Lei Yan Daozu fell, Emperor Fengyang was shivering all over. He didn't even dare to look at Wanfa Daozu, and he didn't dare to run away, for fear that if he moved, he would be instantly killed by Wanfa Daozu. Afterwards, Yi Tian accelerated the time for Yi Xingqian, allowing him to quickly complete his transformation. Not long after, Yi Xingqian completed his transformation and officially became a supreme true ancestor. Thank you, father, for taking action. Yi Xingqian said. You are my son, how could I not do it? Yi Tian said with a smile. Immediately, Yi Tian said again. You are very good this time, breaking through in the battle. I thought it would take a long time for you to step into the supreme true ancestor, but I didn't expect you to become the supreme true ancestor so quickly. Emperor Fengyang, my son is your opponent, your sparring is not over yet, continue to spar, don't worry about the consequences, everything is mine. Yes, Yi Xingqian nodded. The other side, Emperor Fengyang said quickly, I admit defeat, admit defeat. How could he dare to fight against Yi Xingqian? Yi Xingqian is now the supreme ancestor. Even if he has just made a breakthrough, the increase in strength is not very exaggerated, but he was not Yi Xingqian's opponent before, and he is not an opponent now. Sorry, I don't accept your admit defeat. Yi Xingqian said coldly. Before, Emperor Fengyang ordered Daozu Lei Yan to kill him, how could he let Emperor Fengyang go? Help me stop him. Emperor Fengyang ordered his own guards, the Taoist ancestors. However, at this moment, these guardian Taoist ancestors were locked by Yi Tian. Move and die, Yi Tian threatened. A Taoist ancestor moved, and Yi Tian struck the forbidden spear directly through his body, nailing him to the void. At this time, the other Taoist ancestors did not dare to move. And Yi Xingqian also came to Emperor Fengyang and slashed over with a star blade. Emperor Fengyang was already injured, and the injury has not yet recovered. His combat power is not at the peak, and his strength is incomparably huge compared to Yi Xingqian. Puff! Emperor Fengyang's body was almost cut into two pieces, and he was seriously injured again. Puff puff! The Xingqian blades slashed again and again, and Emperor Fengyang couldn't compete at all. He wanted to escape, but his speed was not as fast as Yi Xingqian. Of course, he also wanted to use escape-type treasures to escape, but Yi Xingqian used the taboo field and a bondage-type Zongqian Dao technique, so that he had no way to escape at all, unless he had something similar to the Forbidden Void Leaf, of Forbidden Wonders. But where does he have such a treasure? Feeling that death was about to come, Emperor Fengyang quickly moved out of his backstage. Yi Xingqian, I am the Emperor of Tiandi Palace, even your father Wanfa Daozu is just an ant in front of Tiandi Palace. If you kill me, Tiandi Gongzhen is angry, your human race will be destroyed. Yi Xingqian was not threatened by Emperor Fengyang's words at all, his father had already said that he would bear all the consequences. Father didn't even stop it, why should he stop? Puff! The star blade crossed the fluctuations of Emperor Fengyang, and a good head flew out. Then, Yi Xingqian performed the Zongqian Dao technique, the star spear, which directly pinned the head of Emperor Fengyang with one blow. At the same time, Emperor Fengyang's body was also constantly attacked by Yi Xingqian and completely shattered. Now, the head of Emperor Fengyang is still roaring, and he is still not dead. As the ultimate powerhouse of the invincible true ancestor, Emperor Fengyang is naturally not easy to be killed. Unless Yi Xingqian has practiced forbidden techniques and accumulated a period of years at the level of the supreme true ancestor, he will be able to kill an invincible in a short time. The true ancestor is the ultimate powerhouse. After a while, the Xingqian blade almost smashed the head of Emperor Fengyang into pieces, and his soul was also cut into pieces, completely shattered. At this time, Emperor Fengyang was truly dead. It seems like a long time has passed, but in fact, only 10 minutes have passed. When Emperor Fengyang fell, those Taoist guards of Emperor Fengyang did not dare to move. But Yi Tian knew very well that the Heavenly Emperor Palace must have known about the fall of Emperor Fengyang at this time. After all, Emperor Fengyang and the guards of the Taoist ancestors will inform the Tiandi Palace, and some of the Taoist ancestors who are watching will also contact the Tiandi Palace. Now, it is waiting for the powerful Taoist ancestor of the Tiandi Palace to come. Boom! The void shook, a figure came out from the void, a pair of cold eyes stared at Yi Tian, and said, Myriad Fa Daozu, your human race is very courageous, and you dare to kill the Emperor of our Heavenly Emperor Palace, do you not take our Heavenly Emperor Palace seriously? The visitor is the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor of the Tiandi Palace, the Beacon Fire Daozu. In 5.8, the Tiandi Palace is subordinate to the Tianlong Temple and controls the war. There's only one 7th level Heavenly Dao ancestor here. Yi Tian muttered. He also thought that the Heavenly Emperor Palace would come directly to a Supreme Tao Ancestor. It seems that an emperor is not worthy of the Heavenly Emperor Palace's use of the Supreme Tao Ancestor. Fengwo Daozu, if Emperor Fengyang fights against my son normally, even if we lose, our human race will not do anything to him. Unfortunately, he can't afford to lose, and if he loses, he will order the 5th layer Tiandaozu to kill my son. Is it your Heavenly Emperor? The Emperor of the Palace cannot lose, and whoever wins will destroy whoever wins. Then, from now on, wouldn't it be said that if people in your Heavenly Emperor Palace kill and are killed, your Heavenly Emperor Palace will destroy other people as sects? If this is the case, your Heavenly Emperor Palace will be unavoidable too domineering. Yi Tian mocked. As soon as these words came out, many Taoist ancestors suddenly resonated, and they all praised Yi Tian secretly, and the gazes of each and everyone looking at the beacon fire Taoist ancestors changed. Chapter 1171 The Wind King comes out. 6th more. No matter what Emperor Fengyang does, even if it's wrong, it can only be handled by our Heavenly Emperor Palace. Your human race is not qualified to deal with people in our Heavenly Emperor Palace. Fengwo Daozu said coldly, we just dealt with it, what can you do? Yi Tian was not at all cowardly, and said, then I will take you into the Heavenly Emperor's palace and hand it over to the emperors. 1. The beacon fire Tao ancestor started directly, capturing Yi Tian with the strength of the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor. Although Yi Tian once beheaded the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor, but that was when the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor was suppressed by the rules of the ancient world of Xuanchu, and his strength could not show much. But now it is different, the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor can completely mobilize all his strength. Boom! An ancient phoenix rushed to Yi Tian with endless flames. This was the famous Taoist technique of the beacon fire, the Great Ancient Phoenix Technique. It was created by imitating a primordial chaotic phoenix of the strongest Daozu level. The power is very terrifying, and it can burn the rules. 9 turns indestructible golden body. Ancient desolate body. Yi Tian performed 2 great thousand Dao techniques in a row, coupled with the taboo body of Dacheng realm, to forcefully compete against the great ancient phoenix technique of Feng 29 fire Dao ancestor. Boom! Yi Tian's body kept retreating, the 9-turn indestructible golden body was dim, and the ancient desolate body was also broken, but the taboo body of the Dacheng realm weakened a lot of attacks, so Yi Tian was only slightly injured and was caught abruptly. Did this trick. Dacheng level forbidden body. Fengwo Daozu's expression changed. This is a goal that many invincible Dao ancestors have not achieved. I did not expect Yi Tian to achieve it. Moreover, Yi Tian's 9-turn indestructible golden body and the ancient desolate body have both reached the realm of small achievement. Is this cultivation speed too fast? How long has it been before Wanfa Daozu became Daozu? In such a short period of time, even if he possesses a defensive Dao level natural talent, and he uses the taboo treasures that enhance his understanding all the time, he cannot cultivate 2 Dakion Dao techniques to the realm of small success. What? This is simply breaking the rules. In fact, Yi Tian was promoted to Dao Ancestor with the Supreme True Ancestor, and his comprehension itself was terrible. In addition, Yi Tian copied so many Dao-level natural talents, many of which involved defense, so he learned the speed of the Great Thousand Dao technique is not comparable to other Supreme True Ancestors. Of course, it is naturally impossible to tell Fengwo Daozu. At this time, Beacon Fire Daozu took out a forbidden weapon that contains the forbidden rules of fire, Beacon Fire Knife. It can be seen from the fight just now that Yi Tian's strength has reached the realm of the 6th level Taoist ancestor, and he is still the top 6th level Taoist. With the taboo body of the Dacheng level, the average 7th level Taoist is very difficult. Kill Yi Tian. Although he is the 7th heavenly Dao ancestor, he is not the top 7th heavenly Dao ancestor. If he doesn't use the forbidden weapon, he probably won't be able to capture Yi Tian. Call out. The Beacon Fire Daozu killed him at close range. And Yi Tian didn't hide his forbidden weapon anymore, and directly took out the forbidden weapon, the heaven-slaughtering spear. Boom! The two started fighting, and not long after the competition, Fengwo Daozu unexpectedly found that his beacon knife had faint signs of cracking. If it wasn't for his strength to protect the beacon knife, I am afraid that Yi Tian could break his beacon knife with a single spear. Your spear is a medium forbidden weapon. 1. Fengwo Daozu finally recognized it, and was immediately shocked. Heavenly Emperor Palace, like him, does not all possess taboo weapons, only a few have taboo weapons, and some Supreme Taoist ancestors do not have medium-level taboo weapons, only invincible Taoist ancestors have the background to create a forbidden weapon, but also it cost a lot of treasures, even reluctant to build it. But Yi Tian just broke through Daozu not long ago, and he has the financial resources to create a medium taboo weapon. Moreover, Yi Tian's son Yi Xingchen also has a forbidden weapon. He really wanted to scold people. Is the human race so rich? During the battle, Yi Tian's firepower was full, and he even used the taboo field. He also used the restraint-type Dakion Dao technique and the 10-direction fixed-space technique, but the beacon fire Daozu was too powerful to restrain the opponent at all, so he could only influence it a little. The ancient slashing technique. Yi Tian used the sky slaughtering spear to perform this great thousand Dao technique, which was a skill he had recently figured out. Call out. A golden light was drawn out and slashed towards the ancestor of the beacon fire. However, the immemorial slashing technique can only leave a mark on the great thousand Dao technique of the beacon fire Dao ancestor, and it did not hurt the beacon fire Dao ancestor at all. During the whole process, Yi Tian was suppressed. If he hadn't relied on the taboo body of the Dacheng level to save his life, he would have been defeated long ago. The strength is still a lot worse. Yi Tian exclaimed. But he can't do anything, and his strength can't be improved to a higher level in one step, and he still needs to cultivate slowly. In such a short period of time, he was able to fight with the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor without losing, which was already terrifying. Unexpected. A voice came. Fengwo, step back. Hearing this voice, Fengwo Daozu did not fight with Yi Tian, but retreated. Then, a middle-aged man with bare feet appeared. He was wearing a Taoist robe, with a gold-rimmed blue and gold crown on his head, and a mysterious smile appeared behind his hands, but it was more of a chill. I've seen Master Lanshan. The ancestor of the beacon fire bowed down and said respectfully. Tiandi Palace, Blue Sky Daozu. Yi Tian frowned. This is not the true ancestor of the 7th layer, but a Ten King who is strong enough to be strong enough to Haifeng Mountain in the 8th layer. Wanfa Daozu, if you are willing to join our Heavenly Emperor Palace, this matter can be forgotten, otherwise I won't take you back to deal with it today, and I will kill you on the spot. Lanshan Daozu threatened in a cold voice. Sorry, 420 I won't join the Tiandi Palace. Yi Tian refused directly. All around, many Taoist ancestors who were watching felt that Yi Tian was in trouble, and I was afraid that he would fall, and they regretted each and every one. Some Taoist ancestors even thought that it would be great to join the Tiandi Palace, at least it was a big backer. Then you will die. Blue Sky Daozu shot, and a blue light penetrated instantly, showing no mercy. No 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor could stop this blow, let alone Yi Tian who only had the strength of 6th Heavenly Dao ancestor. Yi Tian also knew that he couldn't stop him, but he didn't panic at all. Unexpected. A figure stood in front of Yi Tian and easily blocked the blow. This person wears a black shirt and a mask, and the taboo text is inscribed on the shirt, Wind. He is the Wind King of Haifeng Mountain. The Wind King seemed to know Lanshan Daozu, and said with a smile, Lanshan Daozu, long time no see, why do you want to kill our Heavenly King of Haifeng Mountain as soon as he appears? Daozu Lanshan wondered. Haifeng Mountain Heavenly King, Wanfa Daozu said that he is not the Juji Heavenly King of your Haifeng Mountain, why is he? The Wind King sneered. Even if the Taoist Wanfa is not the Haifeng Mountain Juji Heavenly King, it doesn't mean he can't become the Haifeng Mountain Heavenly King, right? You can't win over our Haifeng Mountain Heavenly King, so you still want to do it. Could it be that you want to follow me? Can't fight, then let's do it. Daozu Lanshan's expression froze, and he was no match for Feng Wang. Chapter 1172 Please kill the temple. 7th more. Seeing Lanshan Daozu hesitated and did not dare to make a move, the Wind King declared domineeringly, in short, Wanfa Daozu is protected by Haifeng Mountain. If your Tiandi Palace dares to declare war, our Haifengtion will fight. I just don't know, your Tiandi Palace will fight. Dare to fight for an emperor. 1 inch. HMPH, Wind King, this matter is not over. Lanshan Daozu shook his hand, turned and left. This departure also means that the Heavenly Emperor Palace is unwilling to fight for a mere emperor. After all, it is only an emperor, not the supreme true ancestor. If the emperor is dead, he can train other emperors. There are 10 emperors in the Tiandi Palace, and there are many candidates for emperors, so they don't care about this loss. It would not be worth it if he fought against Haifeng Mountain for the sake of a mere emperor, resulting in the loss of a large number of Taoist ancestors. Right now is not the time to start the war, and there is no great benefit, so there is no need to fight with the Black Wind Mountain. After Lanshan Daozu left, thank you to the King of Wind for your help. Yi Tian said gratefully. The reason why he dared to fight with the Heavenly Emperor Palace before and dared to let his son kill the Fengyang Emperor was because he informed the Wind King, and with the Wind King's assurance, he was naturally not afraid of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. It's just a small matter. Your son is very good. Are you interested in letting him join the Black Wind Mountain? The Wind King said with a smile. Look at his own will. Yi Tian said. At this time, the Wind King looked at Yi Xingchen. Yi Xingchen said quickly, Master Feng Wang, I am willing to join Haifeng Mountain. Good. The Wind King was very excited. Yi Xingchen is the supreme true ancestor. There was a supreme true ancestor like Yi Tian before, but now Yi Tian has become a Dao patriarch, and the supreme true ancestor of Haifeng Mountain is gone. Therefore, attracting a supreme true ancestor is of great significance to Haifeng Mountain. Moreover, Yi Xingchen's origin is clear, and his father is the great king of Haifeng Mountain. This kind of genius is very suitable for Haifeng Mountain. Shortly after, Yi Xingchen entered Haifeng Mountain, and the King of Wind personally named him the Heavenly General. General Zusha and General Modian saw that Yi Tian's son Yi Xingchen had become a Heavenly General and was above them, and they were all very ashamed. They also knew that they could not be promoted to the Supreme True Ancestor, so they chose to enter the Dao Ancestor realm one after another. In fact, the invincible true ancestors of Haifeng Mountain are far more than the Blood Fiend Generals. They probably also have legions, but they have never been exposed. Even Yi Tian does not know the power of Haifeng Mountain, so he does not know how many invincible true ancestors there are in Haifeng Mountain. Although Yi Xingchen has become a Heavenly General, he can only manage those generals and peak masters. There are not many people who really manage them. For example, the real ancestors of the Legion under the command of Tianwang, Dewang, and invincible true ancestor, Yi Xingchen is not qualified to govern. Tianzhong seems to have a high status, but in fact, he is far from being able to enter the high-level ranks of Haifeng Mountain. Even if Yi Tian is the great Heavenly King now, he knows very little. Unless he can become one of the 10 kings of Haifeng Mountain one day, he will be qualified to know the true secrets and background of Haifeng Mountain. Tiandi Palace. The death of Emperor Fengyang caused a turmoil in the small circle. Many Taoist ancestors were very angry, but they were only angry. It was impossible for the 3 palace masters to fight Haifengchen for a mere Emperor Fengyang. But Emperor Fengyang is not without a backer. He also has a family in the Tiandi Palace, and belongs to a large family, the Feng family. The Feng family where Emperor Fengyang belongs has dozens of Taoist ancestors, and the strongest Taoist ancestor is the 7th level Taoist ancestor, and Emperor Fengyang has almost been cultivated by the Feng family, which is also the hope of the Feng family. They also counted on Emperor Fengyang to become the supreme Taoist in the future, to be in charge of a palace, and to have huge power in the Tiandi Palace. However, Emperor Fengyang died, and the Heavenly Emperor Palace did not even avenge the Emperor Fengyang. This completely made the Feng family extremely angry, but they did not dare to make trouble in the Tiandi Palace, otherwise the 3 palace masters gave an order, and the Feng family would be wiped out. At this time, the senior members of the Feng family are discussing. The one who presided over the meeting was the ancestor of the Feng family, Feng Zhengde, also known as Longfei Daozu, whose body was a dragon bird with dragon blood. Fengyang is dead, Longfei Daozu said in frustration. Every Taoist ancestor is in a very bad mood. In order to cultivate Emperor Fengyang, they are usually reluctant to spend a lot of resources to cultivate, just to be able to cultivate Emperor Fengyang as soon as possible. Longfei Daozu said again. I contacted a supreme Taoist ancestor of the Tiandi Palace. The Tiandi Palace will not avenge Fengyang, because the other party is from Haifengchen. Haifengchen protects him, and the Tiandi Palace is not willing to fight. But we must avenge this. Need revenge. Many Taoist ancestors roared. At this time, a senior member of the Feng family asked, Old ancestor, it was Yi Xingchen of the human race who killed Fengyang. It is said that the other party is now the supreme true ancestor and has become the Heavenly General of Haifeng Mountain. If we kill him, the Black Wind Mountains will surely be furious. 1. Haifengchen is furious. Could it be that they dare to fight with the Heavenly Emperor Palace? Longfei Daozu said coldly. The senior Feng family stopped talking. Longfei Daozu said again. Don't worry, I know what you are worried about Haifeng Mountain, worried about that Wanfa Daozu, and worried that Tiandi Palace will abandon us. I can guarantee that the Feng family will take revenge, but I will not let the Feng family. People shot. If we don't take action, how can we kill Yi Xingchen? The senior members of the Feng family were all puzzled. Have you come to the Daoshan realm for too long, and have forgotten the situation in the Haohai Sea realm? There were several forces that offended our Feng family. Can we use the power of the Tiandi Palace? Long Fei Daozu reminded. Ancestor, you mean to kill the temple? A Taoist wakes up. That's right, it's the temple of killing. Long Fei Daozu nodded. Everyone present knew that the Temple of Killing was a killer organization with equally mysterious members, who were said to come from various major forces. Black Wind Mountain is a bandit force, has it, and the temple is also mysterious, and it is a killer force. Of course, the strength of the Temple of Killing is far inferior to that of Haifeng Mountain, but as long as the Temple of Killing is given certain treasures, they dare to kill anyone, even the most powerful Taoist ancestors, but they only dare to kill once, not the second time. After all, once exposed, the Temple of Killing is also afraid of being implicated. There is no such thing as endless death, and there is no possibility of endless assassination. That's nonsense. If there was such an arrogant killer force, it would have been wiped out long ago. Once the Killing Temple dispatches killers, almost 90% of the mission is completed, and the remaining 10% represents uncertainty. After all, there are many accidents. For example, the 7th-level Taoist ancestor killed the 1st-level Taoist ancestor, but he did not expect that the other party had the protection of the invincible Taoist ancestor. This situation is uncertain. After negotiation, the Feng family decided to ask the Killing Temple to assassinate Yi Xingqian. As for the price of assassinating Wanfa Daozu, the price was too high for the Feng family to pay. Chapter 1173 Let Out the Killer. First update. Long Fei Daozu once asked the Temple of Killing to assassinate a Taoist ancestor, so he knew one of the people in the Temple of Killing. Fortunately, the top of the Killing Temple is still alive, otherwise it would be a little hard for him to find the Killing Temple. Wind Home, Secret Room. Long Fei Daozu took out a customer token from the Killing Temple, opened the token, and a ray of consciousness crossed time and space to a special space. Immediately, he called for the high-level killing of the temple. Soon, an illusory figure appeared. The whole body was shrouded in darkness, and this was the consciousness space, and it was impossible to know the identity of the other party. Ming, you are here. Long Fei Daozu said. Long Fei Daozu, what are you looking for from me? Ming asked. I want to ask the Temple of Killing to kill someone. Long Fei Daozu directly explained his purpose. Who? Ming is very direct, not much nonsense. Yi Xingqian. Long Fei Daozu said the name. Yi Xingqian. Ming smiled and said, is it Yi Xingqian, the son of the ancestor of the human race, the Taoist of the Wanfa? That's right. Long Fei Daozu nodded. Ming was silent for a while, and then said, Yi Xingqian is the supreme true ancestor. The hope of becoming the invincible Daozu in the future is at least 90%, and his father Wanfa Daozu has greater potential, and the price of killing Yi Xingqian is very high. 10,000 forbidden Dao stones or treasures of equivalent value. Are you willing to pay? What? 10,000 forbidden Dao stones? You are asking too much. 1. Long Fei Daozu was a little unacceptable. Such a price was too high, and it would shake the foundation of the Feng family. Although a forbidden Dao stone vein was born in the Forbidden Mountain range before, which produced hundreds of thousands of forbidden Dao stones, and some forbidden treasures have successively produced a few forbidden Dao stones, the value of the forbidden Dao stones is still very huge, and there is no such thing as the value of the forbidden stones has dropped due to the constant appearance of them. And the Feng family has few taboo stones. If other treasures are used to replace the payment, I am afraid that the Feng family treasure house will be emptied by more than half. He was a little reluctant to pay such a huge price just for revenge. If you don't want to, then forget it. We are not willing to accept such a task at the Temple of Killing. 1. Ming said coldly. Let me consider it. Long Fei Daozu said quickly. I only give you 3 days to think about it, and I won't wait until it expires. After Ming finished speaking, he disappeared, CJFI, and disappeared. The consciousness of Long Fei Daozu exited from this empty space, and the consciousness returned to the body. 3 days. Daozu Long Fei sighed, and discussed with other Daozu of the Feng family, and started a meeting. The meeting lasted for 2 days, and the final choice was finally decided by voting. With more than half of the votes, the Feng family decided to spend this wealth to invite the Temple of Killing. Black Wind Mountain. Yi Tian was in retreat and practiced, but he received a message from the Wind King and could only come to the Wind King's small realm. Wind King, what are you looking for from me? Yi Tian asked curiously. Your son is in trouble. The Wind King said. What? Yi Tian frowned and hurriedly asked. Did something happen? Someone is offering a reward to kill your son Yi Xingqian, said the Wind King. Kill the temple. Yi Tian knows this force. It is a killer force. The members are relatively mysterious, and they come from each force. Moreover, the temple of killing is very strong, although there is no invincible Tao ancestor, but there are several supreme Tao ancestors, comparable to the 8th heavenly power. However, the members of the killing temple were from other forces and could not be rated as the top 3 heaven forces, so he was just an idle organization. The reason why Haifeng Mountain is not rated as the upper 3rd layer is similar. Some members are from the lower 3rd layer, and they are bandits, so they are not rated as the power level. Being stared at by the temple of killing, Yi Xingchen is indeed very dangerous, unless he stays in Haifeng Mountain and does not go out. But this is not realistic. King of the Wind, I heard that the killers who killed the temple have all made a vow of life, not to leak the mission information. It stands to reason that the assassination mission cannot be leaked. How do you know? Yi Tian was a little curious. Ha ha ha, other killers naturally can't leak the news, otherwise who would dare to ask the killing temple to issue a mission? But I'm different, let me tell you the truth, I am one of the 3 deputy masters of the killing temple. The Wind King said with a smile. What, Feng Wang, you are the deputy master of the killing temple? Yi Tian was shocked. This news was too surprising. He thought that the Wind King dispatched him to sneak into the killing temple and used a special method to deliver the news. He didn't expect that the Wind King was directly one of the deputy hall masters of the killing temple. The other 10 kings of Haifeng Mountain know this secret, and you are the great heavenly king of Haifeng Mountain, and your status is second only to us, so you are naturally qualified to know this secret. The King of Wind also talked about why he became one of the deputy hall masters of the killing temple. Turn out to be, in order to make extra money, the Wind King level became the killer of Haifeng Mountain. With the growth of strength, he gradually became the deputy hall master of the killing temple. He had great power, but he did not know who the master of the killing temple was. So mysterious. Wind King, do you know who posted the mission? Yi Tian asked. He had guesses in his heart, but he wasn't sure. It's the Feng family. The Feng family in the Tiandi Palace is also the family where Emperor Fengyang belongs. Feng Wang replied. It's them. Yi Tian was very angry. Wind King, what should we do now? Yi Tian frowned. Let Yi Xingchen go out and attract assassins to assassinate Yi Xingchen. I will let the Fire King secretly protect him. Once a killer attacks, the Fire King will immediately take action. The Temple of Killing will not send a second killer, and they are also afraid that the Temple of Death will be implicated. Therefore, once a killer fails, the mission is equal to failure. Once the killer fails, he will either die or withdraw from the killing temple on his own initiative. 1. The Wind King explained. I understand, then do as the Wind King wants. 1. Yi Tian agreed. Then, the Wind King also told Yi Xingchen the matter. Yi Xingchen didn't have any worries, but he didn't leave immediately, but waited for thousands of years before leaving Haifeng Mountain and patrolling around the human race. Yi Tian did not follow Yi Xingchen, otherwise it would easily cause the killer to dare not attack. According to the information provided by the Wind King, there is indeed a killer who has taken over the task, and he is a silver-level killer, whose strength is at the level of the 6th Heavenly Tao Ancestor. The 6th Heavenly Tao Ancestor kills a Supreme True Ancestor, which is almost certain to be accomplished. This is also the reason why the assassination success rate of the killing temple is almost over 90%. The strong kill the weak, and it is still an assassination. Can the success rate be high? This day, Yi Xingchen was flying in a void. Suddenly, the void solidified, and a terrifying breath locked him. He knew that the killer who killed the temple was finally here. Chapter 1174 Forbidden Void Realm. 2nd. There is no one else nearby, only Yi Xingchen is the only one. With my assassination speed, the full-strength strike of the 6th level Taoist ancestor is enough to instantly kill Yi Xingchen, and then escape and leave. It is absolutely safe. He is a silver-level killer, codenamed Indifference. Indifference immediately shot without hesitation, and the moment he shot it, he had accidentally acquired a thousand path technique, Thorn. He didn't practice much Taoism, he only knew a few Taoist arts, and for countless years he only specialized in thorns, and he directly cultivated this thousand Taoist arts to the peak of Dacheng, and he was only one step away from consummation. The top Tao weapon dagger and the stinger will kill him with a single blow. He's dead, Apathy judged from his own experience. Clang, the dagger did not stab on Yi Xingchen's body, but stabbed a pair of unfamiliar hands. No, mission failed, the indifference can't be hit, and in an instant, it will be far away, leave. However, he couldn't leave. I saw a figure stop him. He knew that the shirt and mask were the Fire King of the Black Wind Mountain. The Fire King waved his hand, and a mass of flames enveloped the indifference. The indifference with no life-saving ability could not stop this terrifying flame Dao technique. Before consciousness was completely annihilated, the question in indifference's mind was, who leaked the mission? Obviously, the Fire King is specially protecting Yi Xingqian. But where is Yi Xingqian qualified to be protected by the Fire King? It must be because someone wants to assassinate Yi Xingqian, so he needs to be protected. This shows that the mission to kill the temple has been leaked. Although it was not clear how it was leaked, he could no longer think about it. Because he is dead, killing a silver-level killer casually is nothing to the Fire King. If it is the 6th level Tiandao ancestor with strong life-saving ability, it may be able to support a move, but it is only this kind of killer who is only proficient in assassination but not proficient in life-saving. One move is enough to kill each other in seconds. Thank you, Fire King. Yi Xingqian flew over and said gratefully. It was too dangerous just now, the speed of the other party was too fast, his consciousness seemed to be frozen, and he couldn't react at all. If the thorn stabbed on his body, no defenses would be able to prevent it, nor could the taboo body be blocked, and it would be annihilated by a single blow, with no chance of surviving. Small thing, the killer is dead, no more people will be sent, I'm leaving. The Fire King walked quickly and didn't linger much. He is also very busy. He obtained the Forbidden Fire Lotus Taboo treasure last time, which has now given him a glimpse of the hope of stepping into the invincible Dao ancestor, so he needs to go back to practice and comprehend. This time, if it wasn't for the Wind King who needed to avoid suspicion, he was afraid that his identity as the Deputy Hall Master of the Killing Temple would be exposed, so he did not dare to participate, otherwise he would not help. The other side. The Temple of Killing quickly confirmed that the silver-level killer had fallen indifferently, and cancelled the mission. Once the quest is cancelled, the remuneration can only be refunded by half. This is the rule of the Killing Temple. If you want to ask the Killing Temple for help, you must have this mental preparation. After all, the loss of the Temple of Killing is not small, and a 6th-level Taoist ancestor has fallen. If there is no benefit, the Temple of Killing will not be able to continue. Tiandi Palace, Fengjia, the ancestor of the Feng family, Long Fei Daozu, was very annoyed. The assassination attempt at the Temple of Killing failed and the mission was cancelled. Damn the Temple of Killing, you can't even kill a true ancestor, and a silver-level killer has fallen, this is ridiculous. It's not that Long Fei Daozu didn't believe in the news of killing the temple, but the 6th-level Daozu assassinated a true ancestor, and the success rate was almost 100%. If after the successful assassination, he could not escape, it would be excusable, but Yi Xingqian was unscathed, and the silver-level killer was killed. He even suspected that the mission had been leaked, causing Yi Xingqian to be vigilant. This is the responsibility of killing the temple, but half of his expenses are swindled, that is a huge wealth. But Long Fei Daozu had no choice but to kill the temple, so he could only swallow the bitter fruit himself. Forget it, let's do this first, and then take revenge on Yi Xingqian and the human race. There is a chance. Long Fei Daozu comforted himself like this. The Feng family gave up temporarily, but they didn't know that they had already been exposed. Human race. Yi Tian was very annoyed when he learned that his son Yi Xingqian had really been assassinated. Although he had expected it and it was a near miss, it did not mean that he was not angry. Feng family, I'll see you kill you once in the future. Yi Tian said coldly. He didn't take revenge now. After all, the Feng family was on the site of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. If he dared to kill him, he wouldn't want to come back. As for asking to kill the temple, it's not necessary, the cost is too high, and killing a few people at most, what's the use? Ask for flowers. In a flash, tens of thousands of years have passed. Since the birth of the ancient world of Xuanxu, the first major event happened. The first forbidden nether realm was born. This big event has attracted the attention of many big forces, and they have started the idea of this taboo void world. What is the forbidden void? Like the previous forbidden forests, mountains, and forbidden land, they belong to half space, and when stacked, people could see these forbidden treasures from the outside. Although these forbidden treasures will give birth to many forbidden strange objects, the security is not very good, and it is not suitable for the headquarters of a force. But the taboo void realm is different. He belongs to another void completely, and the concealment is very strong. Once he occupies a taboo void realm, it can be used as the headquarters of a force after a little transformation. And after the big formation is arranged, it is difficult for other forces to break through the taboo void world. In addition, the rules of the Forbidden Void realm are very powerful, even if it is an invincible Dao ancestor or even a half-step domain ancestor, it is difficult to destroy the taboo void realm, and it is not a problem to withstand the killing of many, many strong men. The most important point is that the forbidden void realm can be refined. Once a forbidden void realm is refined, it is the realm owner of the void realm, mobilizing the power of the forbidden void realm. At that time, even if the supreme Tao ancestor controls the forbidden void realm, he can suppress the invincible Tao ancestor. If the invincible Tao ancestor controls the forbidden void realm, he can even compete with a half-step domain ancestor. What is this concept? Therefore, there is no force that does not want to occupy the taboo void realm. It is conceivable that any force occupying the taboo void realm can basically develop rapidly in the future. In the past, there was no taboo in the void realm in the How High Sea realm, so I was afraid that even the Heavenly Emperor Palace would be moved. As for why the taboo void realm was discovered, it was because the space fluctuated greatly when the taboo void realm was just born, which would attract the attention of the outside world. Once the forbidden nether realm has stabilized, it is not easy to find it. When the forbidden void realm was discovered, a large number of Taoist ancestors came to the forbidden void realm fluctuation area. Tianzong, Tianheizong, Wanyu Temple, Haifeng Mountain. These forces all sent Taoist ancestors one by one. Even the Tiandi Palace finally sent someone. Chapter 1175 It and #039, S just a small one. Chapter 3. Because the forbidden void realm has not really stabilized, the real powerhouses have not yet arrived, but some supreme Taoist ancestors have arrived. The three great kings of Haifeng Mountain, Feng Wang, Huo Wang, and Shi Wang have come, the Daozu Zumi and Daozu Swallowing Heaven of the Mission Sect, the Daozu of Heavenly Artifacts, the Daozu of Tianqi, the Daozu of Shanhai from the Tianai Sect, and the Daozu of the Eight Heavens. Yun Daozu. These supreme Tao ancestors came here as the first batch of powerhouses to investigate the situation of the forbidden void realm. Once the forbidden void realm is stabilized, those invincible Tao ancestors may appear immediately, and even the half-step domain ancestors may take action. Yi Tian also came here. After all, when such a big event happened, it was impossible for him not to come. However, what Yi Tian came here was a copy of his body, coming as the Juji Heavenly King. Yi Tian followed the Wind King and the Fire King, staring at a 4-3-3 area not far away, where the rules were very chaotic, especially the spatial rules were constantly oscillating, and he could vaguely sense a place. Majestic world. This world contains powerful taboo rules, and it is obviously not an ordinary world. Wind King, Forbidden Void Realm, should we also snatch the Black Wind Mountain? Yi Tian asked through voice transmission. It depends on the situation, but there is a high probability that we will not snatch it. After all, we have a small realm in Haifeng Mountain, and the concealment is even higher than that of the Forbidden Void Realm. However, the cultivation environment of the Taboo Void Realm far exceeds the small realm, and the Forbidden Void Realm has many forbidden treasures will gradually be born in the future. Therefore, in terms of value, a Forbidden Void Realm is comparable to a small realm. But for now, we have no shortage of small realms in Black Wind Mountain. The Wind King said, Haifeng Mountain wouldn't care too much about a forbidden void, but it didn't mean that the powerhouses of the Forbidden Mountain didn't care. For example, the Wind King, if he really snatched the Taboo Void World, he must be happy. After all, a Forbidden Void Realm can be used to develop its own power, as its own base camp, and to expand the Legion. With the passage of time, after the fluctuation of the rules of the Taboo Void Realm's birth reached a peak, it gradually became calm. Once it was completely calm, it meant that the Taboo Void Realm was completely stabilized. About half a month has passed, and the Forbidden Void Realm has completely stabilized. At this time, the powerhouses of the major forces have explored this Taboo Void world. The Wind King was also investigating this Forbidden Void Realm, crossing the void through a special secret technique. A ray of consciousness descended into the Taboo Void Realm, and soon learned the general situation of the Forbidden Void Realm. It's a small Forbidden Void world. The Wind King was a little disappointed. Small Forbidden Void Realm. Yi Tian also knew about the division of the Void Taboo Realm from the classics of Haifeng Mountain, which was divided into Small Taboo Void Realm, Medium Taboo Void Realm, and Large Taboo Void Realm. Among them, the most valuable one was undoubtedly the Large Taboo Void Realm. The difference between the Small Taboo Void Realm and the Medium and Large Taboo Void Realm is not only the strength of the rules and the size of the world, but also the quantity and quality of taboo treasures. Of course, these are not real gaps yet. The rules of the Small Taboo Void Realm are imperfect and have special restrictions. For example, the medium-sized Taboo Void Realm and the Large Taboo Void Realm basically have perfect rules, and there are almost no restrictions. The taboo void realm without restrictions is easier to transform and perfect, while the taboo void realm with restrictions is somewhat difficult to transform. Of course, imperfect rules are not without benefits. There must be some taboos. The rules of the void world are imperfect, and time passes faster. This is the benefit. For example, cultivating in such a taboo void world is much faster than the outside world, because time passes quickly inside, which is equivalent to cultivating inside the time array. However, on the whole, the value of the small taboo void world is far less than that of the medium taboo void world. As a famous Taoist ancestor consciously spied on this small taboo void world, and probed the imperfect rules of this small taboo void world, they gradually came to know some general situation. Boom. Mitn Zong's virtuous Taoist master is proficient in the way of space, and when tearing the void, he will try to step into the small taboo void realm. However, he is stuck in the shuttle space and cannot completely step into the taboo void realm. The rules in it excluded him from entering the forbidden void realm. So, Zumi Daozu withdrew. The rules of this small taboo void world are not perfect. It has rules that exclude the most powerful Taoist ancestors. I am afraid that the strongest can only allow the 7th level Taoist ancestors. In addition, the passage of time inside is about 1,000 times that of the outside world. Zumi Daozu judged, 1,000 times the passage of time. Many forces are excited, this is a good time passing. Although the outside world can also arrange a large time array, which can be easily arranged 10,000 times the time, but it also requires resources to arrange a large time array, and it also requires resources to cultivate in a large time array. But if you practice in the small forbidden void realm, you don't need resources, that's the time acceleration that comes with the taboo void realm itself. Moreover, the Supreme Tao Ancestor cannot enter, which represents an opportunity, and those 7th heavenly forces are qualified to compete for this taboo void world. How about giving this forbidden void realm to our Heavenly Emperor Palace? A Taoist ancestor spoke up. This person is the most powerful Taoist ancestor of the Tiandi Palace, Xuan Taoist ancestor. His strength is much stronger than that of Lanshan Taoist. Zumi Daozu looked at Xuan Daozu, and said a little unhappily, how high is the value of the taboo void realm? The Tiandi Palace wants the taboo void realm, we want it too, everyone competes fairly, why do you Tiandi Palace say you want it, we have to give. Daozu Zumi's words resonated with many people, and they rebuked Daozu Xuan. At this time, the Wind King said, I also suggest a fair competition. This forbidden void world is the strongest and only allows the 7th level Taoist ancestors to enter, then let the 7th level Taoist and the Taoist ancestors with strength below the 7th level enter, who can get as much benefits as possible, who can refine the taboo void world, then whose ability is 5.8, how? Refining the forbidden void realm is very difficult, it takes a long time, and before completely occupying a forbidden void realm, how can there be time to refine the taboo void realm? Therefore, this time, at most, it is to enter the forbidden void realm to harvest some forbidden wonders, and there is no other way to do it. Of course, the Wind King's suggestion has also been recognized by most of the forces. Although the Xuan Daozu of the Tiandi Palace was a little unhappy, he couldn't fight against all the forces. Okay, I agree, Xuan Daozu nodded. Subsequently, 7th Heavenly Tao Ancestor Land came one after another, and they were all informed that they would enter the forbidden void realm to grab resources. If possible, they would make every effort to refine the taboo void realm and seize this forbidden void realm. Of course, this is not mandatory, after all, the possibility is not very large. Chapter 1176 Forbidden Spiritual Roots. 4th More. King Juji, do you want to enter the forbidden void realm too? Seeing that Yi Tian was going in, the King of Wind asked. Well, although I only have the strength of the 6th level Taoist ancestor, it is difficult for the 7th level Taoist to kill me. Yi Tian said. The Wind King also knew that Yi Tian possessed a forbidden body and a forbidden weapon, so his life-saving ability was naturally very strong, so he could not be treated as an ordinary top 6 level Heavenly Tao ancestor. Be careful, Feng Wang reminded. He also didn't know whether Yi Tian came to the main body or the clone, so it was a good thing to remind him. Yi Tian entered this small forbidden void realm, but before entering the forbidden void realm, he looked in the direction of the Heavenly Emperor Palace but saw a person. Long Fei Daozu. Yi Tian had already investigated the Feng family where Emperor Fengyang of Tiandi Palace belonged, and the ancestor of the Feng family was Long Fei Daozu. The ancestor of the Feng family, the ancestor of the 7th Heavenly Tao. If it were some powerful 7th Heavenly Dao ancestors, Yi Tian would not have any confidence to kill them, but Long Fei Dao ancestor was relatively weak among the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestors, and he was forced to use some special secret techniques to forcefully break into the 29th 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor realm, and his potential was almost exhausted. The ultimate Taoist ancestor. Such a 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor is not very powerful and has a lot of flaws. However, after all, the other party is the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor, and it is more difficult for him to kill the other party, and it will take a long time. Go ahead and talk about it, and kill him if you have a chance. Yi Tian thought to himself. Forbidden Void Realm. A famous Taoist ancestor came in. They were basically Taoist ancestors above the 5th layer of heaven, and Taoist ancestors below the 5th layer of heaven did not dare to come in, otherwise the mortality rate would be too high. Of course, most of them are the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor. These 7th Heavenly Dao ancestors basically came from the upper 3 heavenly forces, and a few were loose cultivators. After all the Taoist ancestors came in, they spread out, for fear of being surrounded and killed by others. The rules here are so powerful, and the space is so solid. As soon as Yi Tian came in, he felt the rules here and muttered. And this is still a small taboo void realm, the rules are not perfect, one can imagine how powerful the rules of the real medium taboo void realm are. No wonder the invincible Dao ancestor or even the half-step domain ancestor cannot shake the forbidden void realm. Once he controls a taboo void realm, it is basically equivalent to having a safe rear. Because the forbidden void realm was just born, it is relatively empty, and many areas are in the form of vortexes, which seem to be breeding certain continents and stars. It's like the real world here. Many Taoist ancestors have begun to look for the continents and planets that have been born, and only there will be the birth of forbidden strange things. After a while, the Taoist ancestors disappeared, and Yi Tian also randomly chose a direction to fly. He can't kill Longfei Daozu in a short time, so there is no need to stare at Longfei Daozu, it is better to look for some forbidden strange objects first. When the taboo void realm was just born, there were indeed quite a few taboo strange objects. No, Yi Tian didn't fly long before he discovered a void continent. Wow, above the void continent, Yi Tian descended here. As soon as his consciousness swept away, he discovered a lot of forbidden strange objects. About 30 forbidden strange objects. Yi Tian was overjoyed. It was so easy to find more than 30 forbidden strange objects, which was much easier than finding them one by one. Sudden, Yi Tian turned his eyes to the distance and looked at a Taoist who was flying at a very high speed. From the perspective of breath, the other party is a 6th level heavenly Dao ancestor, not too powerful. Roll. Yi Tian held the forbidden spear and threw it fiercely. In the distance, the 6th level heavenly Dao ancestor saw the forbidden spear stabbed, and kept retreating after resisting it with all his strength. And he recognized Yi Tian's identity as the top 6th level heavenly Dao ancestor, and he has a body that is taboo at the high level, so he can't offend him. So, he's gone. Seeing the 6th heavenly Dao ancestor leave, Yi Tian accelerated to collect these forbidden and strange objects. His inner world has long been captive with a group of forbidden bloodline creatures, and now it is just releasing the great terror caused by attracting forbidden strange objects. Of course, not all taboo strange objects contain great terror, so Yi Tian did not waste many taboo bloodline creatures. In a short time, Yi Tian took away all the more than 30 forbidden items and left here. After Yi Tian left, a 7th heavenly Dao ancestor came here. Seeing that there were no forbidden items on this void continent, he couldn't help but sighed and continued to fly away. That's it. The forbidden strange objects in the forbidden void realm were taken away by the Taoist ancestors one by one. Occasionally, some void continents containing a large number of forbidden strange objects attracted many Taoist ancestors. If it is a low-level taboo strange object, it is not worth fighting for Tao ancestors. However, many of the taboo strange objects born in the forbidden void world are medium and high forbidden strange objects, and even top-level forbidden strange objects are not very rare. If you are lucky, you might even find the forbidden treasure. This day, Yi Tian is looking for forbidden strange objects. At this time, he has obtained nearly thousands of forbidden strange objects, and there are even dozens of top-level forbidden strange objects. The harvest can be said to be very rich. Unexpected. There were waves of battle fluctuations in the distance, and the aura was very chaotic, apparently many Taoist ancestors were fighting. Go and see. Yi Tian flew over. Soon, he saw the picture of the battle. Hundreds of Taoist ancestors were snatching a giant tree, only to see that the giant tree was chopped into pieces, and each of the 433 branches of the giant tree was flowing with drops of black substance, exuding a forbidden atmosphere. Quote. Yi Tian's pupils shrank sharply, and his eyes were full of excitement and greed. If he didn't guess wrong, that giant tree should be a very rare and almost legendary forbidden spiritual root. Heaven and earth spiritual roots are almost the best treasures of cultivation resources. For example, some magical medicines are also a kind of heavenly and earthly spiritual roots. Among the forbidden treasures, there are also forbidden spiritual roots. They are the best training treasures and can greatly improve the cultivation base. For example, Yi Tian is currently cultivating the Juji Dao Canon, and he also needs to gradually accumulate Taboo Dao power, and there is no way to do it overnight. But the Taboo spiritual root is different, it can make Yi Tian's Taboo Dao power grow rapidly, saving countless years of penance. Once the forbidden spiritual root is obtained, as long as the potential is sufficient, the strength will soon increase greatly. For example, if a just promoted 7th level Taoist ancestor has obtained the forbidden spiritual root, although there is no hope of hitting the strongest Taoist ancestor, he can step into the extreme level of the 7th level Taoist ancestor in a short period of time. Grab. Yi Tian decided. He also has to snatch the taboo spiritual root. Even if he can only snatch a piece of it, he can greatly improve the forbidden power. With his potential, he can quickly break the shackles and be promoted to the 7th heavenly ancestor. He does not need to slowly cultivate for a long time. Can be promoted to the 7th heavenly Tao ancestor. Chapter 1177 Strength Breakthrough, 7th heavenly Tao ancestor. 5th. Wow. Yi Tian performed the Great Thousand Tao technique, heavenly illusory step, and rushed into the battlefield with an extremely fast and ghostly figure. At the same time, he urged Dacheng's taboo body and defensive Taoist 9th turn indestructible golden body and ancient desolate body, and let the attacks of other 7th level heavenly ancestors bombard him, and he didn't care at all. The indestructible golden body of 9 turns is broken. The ancient desolate body was also broken. Yi Tian didn't panic at all, he used the taboo body to endure the injury abruptly, and mobilized the power of the taboo source to constantly repair the injury. In terms of life-saving, he is invincible. In this way, Yi Tian forcibly resisted the attack of a 7th heavenly Tao ancestor, and reached the forbidden spiritual root. With a single strike, the primordial slashing technique directly cut off a branch of the forbidden spiritual root, and it was not too short. Dry. The taboo spiritual root is very strong and difficult to cut off, but the ancient slashing technique, the Great Thousand Tao technique, specializes in slashing solid things, so it can cut off the forbidden spiritual root with one blow, and the attacks of other 7th level heavenly ancestors are in above Yi Tian, it is very difficult to cut off the forbidden spiritual root with one blow. For example, fire-based Taoism and ice-based Taoism, how does it cut off the forbidden spiritual root? After Yi Tian cut off the forbidden spiritual root, he took away the branch of the forbidden spiritual root at once, and immediately used the celestial magic step to quickly escape from here. Juji Tianwang, leave the forbidden spiritual root. A 7th heavenly Tao ancestor shouted angrily. Boom. A series of Taoist attacks bombarded Yi Tian's body, and there were many attacks from the top 7th level heavenly ancestors. I saw that Yi Tian's body was severely wounded and even pierced again and again. If it hadn't been for the forbidden body and the power of the forbidden source to repair his body, I'm afraid he would have been killed in seconds. But even so, after so many attacks, he was seriously injured. Yi Tian dare not continue to snatch the rest of the forbidden spiritual root, that is an act of courting death. With Yi Tian rushing out of the encirclement, there were many fewer 7th heavenly Tao ancestors chasing him. After all, Yi Tian's life-saving ability was too strong, and other Tao ancestors would lose the chance to continue to snatch the taboo spiritual root if they caught up with Yi Tian. After a while, no one was chasing Yi Tian. Forbidden Void Realm, a void without people. Yi Tian arranged a simple hiding formation, and then started to heal his wounds by hiding in it. At this moment, Yi Tian looked very embarrassed as a whole. One arm disappeared, his body was full of holes, and the blood was almost drained. This is just a superficial injury. Inside the body, the power of the rules is destroying his body. If it is not for the forbidden body of the Dacheng level to offset the attack injury, he is afraid that he will die now. Moreover, the General Daozu suffered such an injury, and he would not even try to recover without sleeping for hundreds of millions of years. Yi Tian urged the forbidden technique and used the power of the forbidden source to repair his body. Gradually, his injuries recovered. The power of the forbidden source is so effective in repairing injuries. Yi Tian said with joy. It is precisely because of the endless power of the forbidden source, otherwise he would not dare to rush in and seize the forbidden spiritual root. In short, this time he gained too much. Speeding up the time, Yi Tian's injuries all recovered shortly after. Afterwards, he found a relatively hidden place, took out a palace, reduced the size of the palace, and then cast a large hidden formation, and began to retreat and practice here. Inside the palace, Yi Tian took out the forbidden spiritual root. The nearly 300-meter-long body of the forbidden spiritual root was lying on the ground, and a drop of the forbidden spiritual root liquid dripped out from it. Yi Tian took out the taboo gourd to collect these taboo spirit root liquid, and soon collected all the taboo spirit root liquid, leaving only the taboo spirit root shell. This body can also be regarded as a cultivation resource. If it is refined, it can also improve cultivation, but it is far less useful than the taboo spiritual root liquid. So, Yi Tian put this body into the inner world. Next, Yi Tian began to use the forbidden spiritual root liquid to cultivate the Juji Dao cannon. Boom! A drop of taboo spirit root liquid enters the entrance, and a majestic energy pours into the whole body. It becomes a new taboo power under the refining of the Juji Daoism, and then slowly tempers the body and soul, and strengthens his own cultivation. After refining just a drop of the forbidden spirit root liquid, it is comparable to the previous 1,000 years of ascetic cultivation. And refining a drop of taboo spirit root liquid takes less than an hour. One can imagine how fast the cultivation speed is. More importantly, there is almost no bottleneck in using the taboo spiritual root fluid to cultivate, but there are bottlenecks in penance, and from time to time, it is difficult to improve the cultivation base. As the days passed, Yi Tian's cultivation level improved extremely fast, and he also accelerated the time 10,000 times, cultivated for a long time under the acceleration of time, and the outside world only passed for a while, and the time would not be delayed. In the blink of an eye, 3 days have passed in the outside world, and Yi Tian has been cultivating for 30,000 days under the Great Time Array. At this time, he has refined most of the forbidden spirit root liquid, and the forbidden power is dozens of times stronger, and the combat power has directly stepped into the bottleneck between the 6th level Heavenly Dao Ancestor and the 7th level Heavenly Dao Ancestor. Today, he is already a 7th Heavenly Dao Ancestor, and he is still a relatively powerful 7th Heavenly Dao Ancestor. The rest of the forbidden spirit root liquid can be brought back to Yuaa, Xingchen, Xingyu, and the rest, and even if the remaining spirit root liquid is all refined, I can't improve my strength. Yi Tian muttered. Road. This time, the forbidden void realm gave birth to a rare taboo treasure called the taboo spirit root, which shows that there are definitely other taboo spirit roots in this forbidden void realm. He also wants to capture more taboo spiritual roots. In this case, his growth rate is absolutely incomparable. Even if he wants to step into the strongest Taoist ancestor, it will not take too long. Otherwise, no matter how evil his talent is, it will be difficult for him to grow in a short period of time. Step into the ranks of the strongest Taoist ancestors. In addition, he also wanted to kill Long Fei Daozu. With his current strength, he definitely has nearly 90% hope to kill the opponent, and he doesn't need to worry about the opponent running away. The next 2 goals are to find the forbidden spiritual root and kill Long Fei Daozu. Yi Tian went out, put away the palace, released the formation, turned into a ray of light and disappeared. Is it okay, kill? Damn, it hurts so bad. Long Fei Daozu dragged his severely injured body through the void and kept flying, changing direction. He has already escaped for the treasure, and only then lost several 7 heavenly eyes to besieged and killed. If he hadn't had a bit of background, I'm afraid it would have ended immediately. Immediately, he became excited again. This time, he was the first to see a black flower with 108 petals. After his identification, the black flower was not an ordinary taboo wonder, but a very rare taboo spiritual root. Each petal is enough to make one cultivate. Big progress. He knows that his potential is almost exhausted, and he has no hope of stepping into the ranks of the strongest Dao ancestors, but once he refines the forbidden spirit root flower, he can let his Dao power break the shackles and continue to improve. He has the hope of becoming the top 7th level Taoist ancestor, overlooking those weak 7th level Taoist ancestors. Chapter 1178 Long Fei Daozu who sent people in #039's heads and treasures. 6th more. In order to ensure his absolute safety, Long Fei Daozu went around in several directions, and erased the traces of his shuttle, and then concealed his breath and opened up a small space inside a small star to hide. In this way, he felt that he should be foolproof and would never be discovered. Heal your wounds first, and then use that forbidden spirit root flower to improve your cultivation. Long Fei Daozu thought to himself. And not long after, a figure passed by this little star. This person is Yi Tian. Yi Tian probed this little star as usual, and then copied the talent to cover it. This was his habit. Originally, he didn't think there was any gain. But the key is that his copying talent has actually detected the existence of a Taoist ancestor. Judging from the names shown by the talent situation, the other party is impressively Long Fei Daozu of the Feng family. I couldn't find it in Long Fei Daozu, but when I didn't want to look for it, he actually appeared. Yi Tian was surprised. This is too coincidental. How low the probability should be for him to meet Long Fei Daozu. And depending on the situation, Long Fei Daozu seems to be injured, and the injury has not recovered. Even Yi Tian had to say that Long Fei Daozu was really unlucky. Yi Tian slammed an energy attack on this little star. 433 boom. The stars shattered, and the hidden formation arranged by Long Fei Daozu was also broken, revealing the figure of Long Fei Daozu. At this time, Long Fei Daozu was very angry. He was so hidden on this star that he was almost inconspicuous. Someone even exploded the star and exposed him. But then he looked even more angry. Juji Heavenly King, it's you. Long Fei Daozu was very annoyed. Although it is rumored that Juji Tianwang and Wanfa Daozu are two people, and the two people have indeed appeared on the same occasion many times, the attack methods of the two are so similar that they are almost the same. Therefore, even if they are two people, they are very close to each other, even brothers. Therefore, Long Fei Daozu also hated the Juji Heavenly King very much. However, he knew so much that he did not fight with the Juji Heavenly King, but ran away quickly. There is no way, Yi Tian and the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor Fengwo Daozu of the Heavenly Emperor Palace have not been defeated before, and his strength is not as good as Fengwo Daozu. He believed that the strength of the Juji Heavenly King should not be weaker than Wanfa Daozu, so he should not be able to kill the Juji Heavenly King. What's more, he has not recovered from his injury and needs to be healed as soon as possible. Once he has healed his wounds and refined the forbidden spirit root flower, after his strength has skyrocketed, it is not too late to kill the Juji Heavenly King. Want to escape? Yi Tian sneered. The taboo field unfolded, covering this area, suppressing and binding Long Fei Daozu. Then, the Great Thousand Dao technique of binding, 10 directions concentration technique was also displayed by Yi Tian, giving Long Fei Daozu a layer of restraint again. It was different from the time when he fought with the Beacon Fire Daozu. At that time, Yi Tian was only the 6th level Heavenly Daozu, and the restraint effect was not good, but now he is the 7th level Heavenly Daozu, and his strength is above Long Fei Daozu. Therefore, under the suppression of the forbidden area and the 10-direction fixed air technique, Long Fei Daozu had no way to escape. The ancient slashing technique. A silk thread slid across Long Fei Daozu's body in an instant, breaking through his layers of defenses and directly cutting him into 2 pieces. This made Long Fei Daozu, who was already seriously injured, aggravated again, and it became a little difficult to even heal the injury. Boundless Space Spear. Another attacking Dakion Dao technique was displayed, piercing through Long Fei Daozu's body at an incredible speed. 7th Heavenly Dao Ancestor, Juji Heavenly King, spare your life. Long Fei Daozu was terrified. Not to mention that he is not injured, even if he is in his peak state, he is definitely not a powerful opponent of the 7th Heavenly Dao Ancestor like the Juji Tianwang, and the Juji Tianwang Association has too many Dakion Dao techniques, almost too comprehensive. Boom! A golden bell of soul vibrated in Long Fei Daozu's soul realm, causing his soul to almost crack. CJFI, The screams were endless, and Long Fei Daozu seemed to have his head broken open. But no matter how he begged for mercy, Yi Tian would not let him go. What a joke, he is Daozu of Wanfa, and Daozu Longfei sent someone to assassinate his son, how could he let Daozu Longfei go? In a short time, Long Fei Daozu's breath was sluggish, his soul was about to collapse, and his consciousness was almost blurred. Unexpected, Yi Tian directly used the time-space truncation technique to cut Long Fei Daozu's body into multiple pieces and sent them into different time and space. As a result, Yi Tian cut off Long Fei Daozu's body in a short while, completely erasing his vitality. When the vitality of each body was annihilated, Long Fei Daozu completely fell and died. This is also the first 7th Heavenly Dao Patriarch killed by Yi Tian after he became Dao Patriarch. After killing Long Fei Daozu, Yi Tian began to organize his belongings. Long Fei Daozu was very poor, and he didn't have any good things on his body, only the 2,000 forbidden strange objects he found in the Forbidden Void realm this time. Yi Tian was very satisfied with this. After all, the value of 2,000 taboo strange objects was incomparably huge. Hey, this forbidden treasure is. Yi Tian saw that black flower, which was different from the taboo rules given out by other taboo wonders, and when he smelled it, his whole body's Tao energy was rolling, as if it had increased a little. Forbidden spirit root. Yi Tian was surprised. He didn't expect Long Fei Daozu to have a forbidden spiritual root, and it was a complete forbidden spiritual root. If the grade of this forbidden spirit root is not as good as that of the forbidden spirit root tree, but the forbidden spirit root tree he obtained is incomplete, so the forbidden spirit root liquid obtained is not much, and the value is definitely not as high as this forbidden spirit root flower. At this time, Yi Tian finally understood how the injury on Long Fei Daozu came from. As the 7th heavenly Tao ancestor, if Long Fei Tao ancestor and other Tao ancestors were just robbing ordinary forbidden items, they would not suffer so much. But if you snatch the forbidden spiritual root, it is normal to be injured so badly. Long Fei Daozu is really a good man, he gave me a forbidden spiritual root, not to mention the head. Yi Tian couldn't help sighing. He decided that even if he took revenge on the Feng family in the future, he would be a little more merciful and leave them a whole corpse. Long Fei Daozu didn't know what Yi Tian thought, otherwise he would definitely vomit blood and die. Subsequently, Yi Tian left here and continued to search for forbidden strange objects. At present, with his strength, he doesn't need to be afraid of other 7th heavenly Tao ancestors. Unless it is the kind of 7th heavenly Tao ancestor that defies the sky, he can't be killed at all. In a flash, 10 days have passed. Chapter 1179 Besieging the Emperor and #039's Palace Daozu. 7th more. Because the small taboo void world is not too big, and there are many Taoist ancestors pouring in, and the speed of Taoist exploration is fast, almost all the forbidden strange objects have been found. This time, the forbidden void realm did indeed give birth to several forbidden treasures. It's a pity that when Yi Tian rushed over, the competition for the forbidden treasure was over. Therefore, Yi Tian did not grab a single taboo treasure. Of course, he didn't regret anything, after all, his gains were not small. In these 10 days, he found a lot of taboo strange objects, and he also encountered a few fights between Taoist ancestors, he participated in it, killed a few Taoist ancestors, and robbed a lot of taboo weird objects. In this way, he has harvested more than 30,000 taboo strange objects, and the quality is very high, which is comparable to the overall value of the hundreds of thousands of forbidden strange objects that he harvested at the beginning. In addition, he also harvested a forbidden spirit root tree and a forbidden spirit root flower. These two treasures are almost indescribable in value, more precious to him than any other treasure. The snatch of taboo strange objects is almost over. Many Taoist ancestors have already withdrawn from the forbidden void realm, but there are still many Taoist ancestors who have not left. They are still thinking about competing for the control of the taboo void realm. But it is more difficult to refine the taboo void world, and it must be undisturbed. Boom! The taboo void realm shook, and taboo rules in the void appeared and disappeared, which attracted the attention of all Taoist ancestors. Someone is refining the taboo void realm, who is so daring to seek death? Yi Tian was surprised. At this time, many Taoist ancestors rushed over, vowing to stop the Taoist ancestor from refining the taboo void world. Yi Tian's speed was very fast, and he was regarded as the first batch of Taoist ancestors to arrive. It's the Stone Eagle Taoist ancestor of the Tiandi Palace. Yi Tian recognized the Taoist ancestor of the Forbidden Void Realm. At this time, Xiying Daozu is using huge arrays to form a large array, communicating the origin of the Taboo Void Realm and refining the Taboo Void Realm. Beside Xiying Daozu, Daozu guarded him one by one. They are all the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. The 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors of the Heavenly Emperor Palace are many, far exceeding the other 3 heavenly forces. For example, some 7th level forces are only a few 7th level Tao ancestors. 8th level forces estimate that dozens of 7th level Tao patriarchs are incredible, and 9th level forces may have hundreds of 7th level Tao patriarchs. And the entire Xuanxu ancient world has more than 100 forces in the 3rd level heaven, and it can be imagined that the number of Taoist ancestors in the 7th level heaven is not many. For example, this time, there are more than 1,000 Tao ancestors of the 7th layer, about 2,000 Tao ancestors of the 6th layer, and only a few hundred Tao ancestors of the 5th layer. There are more than 100 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors sent by Tiandi Palace to guard Xiying Daozu, which shows how many 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors of Tiandi Palace are. Moreover, these 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors are so united, they must have been ordered by the top of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Their goal is to refine the Taboo Void world and completely control this world. Perhaps the Heavenly Emperor Palace is not too eager for the taboo void realm, but it definitely does not want other forces to obtain the taboo void realm. The Heavenly Emperor Palace is refining the taboo void world, and the Taoist ancestors of the 7th and 8th heaven forces dare not do anything for a while, otherwise they will offend the Heavenly Emperor Palace, and there are too many Taoist ancestors in the Heavenly Emperor Palace, and they are easily killed. The key point is that the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors of Haifeng Mountain did not want to compete for the Forbidden Void Realm, so they left the Forbidden Void Realm one by one after they could not obtain many taboo strange objects. The reason why Yi Tian did not leave was because he also wanted to obtain the Forbidden Void Realm. Although he had little hope, he still had this hope. At this time, the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors of the Mission Sect, the 10,000 Domains Temple, and the Tian'ai Sect have arrived, and the top beings among the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors of the 3 major 9 heavens forces have also come here. Mi Tianzong, Tianpao Daozu. The Temple of 10,000 Domains, Evil Buddha and Taoist ancestor. Tianheizong, ancestor of the demonic Tao. These 3 Tao ancestors have a very great reputation at the 7th layer Heavenly Tao ancestor level, and all of them have reached the pinnacle of the 7th layer Heavenly Tao ancestor. They have even comprehended the Supreme Tao and have walked a long way on the Supreme Tao. In addition, they also mastered the dark taboo power and the taboo body one by one. Breaking through the Supreme Tao ancestor is not difficult for them, but they want to accumulate deeper, so they did not immediately hit the Supreme Tao ancestor realm. Ask for flowers. Coupled with the birth of the Forbidden Void Realm, they will be sent to the Forbidden Void Realm. In terms of strength, these 3 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors are not weaker than the Xiying Tao ancestors of the Heavenly Emperor Palace at all. Xiying Daozu, your Heavenly Emperor Palace even wants to occupy the taboo void world, we can't agree. Tianpao Daozu said. Tiankla Daozu, you can think clearly, do you really want to be the enemy of our Tiandi Palace? Xiying Daozu said coldly. There is no way, the value of a taboo void world is too great, even if it is a small taboo void realm, we can't give up. The Heavenly Emperor Palace is very powerful, but if our major forces are united, your Heavenly Emperor Palace may not be able to compete with us. Said Daozu Fumo. Whoever moves, whoever dies. Xiying Daozu threatened. The 107th level Heavenly Tao ancestors of the Tiandi Palace also showed their aura, took out their weapons, and a doorway technique was ready to be activated at any time. The Mission Sect, the Heavenly Sea Sect, and the 10,000 Domains Temple cannot compete with the Heavenly Emperor Palace, and the 7-fold Heavenly Tao ancestor of the 3 families together can be worth more than 100. Sent in. The only advantage is that they have 3 invincible 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors, and the Heavenly Emperor Palace seems to have only Xiying Tao ancestor. Go, Tianpao Daozu said. Boom, the fight has begun. I saw Tiankla Daozu casually cast a claw-like Taoist technique, and one claw smashed a 7th level Tian Daozu from Tiandi Palace. Although the other party's body healed again, he was seriously injured. A single blow hit a 10th level Heavenly Tao ancestor and a 2nd level Heavenly Tao ancestor who was invincible. Xiying Tao ancestor was almost unable to do it, so no matter how many Heavenly Emperor Palace's 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor were, they were completely suppressed. Seeing this scene, Xiying Daozu was very nervous. Once the Taoist ancestors of the Heavenly Emperor Palace were defeated and the Great Formation was broken, he would not be able to continue refining the taboo void world. With the defeat of a famous Heavenly Emperor Palace 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor, Xiying Tao ancestor suddenly shouted, "Ghost Son, what are you waiting for? Take action." As soon as these words came out, the audience was shocked. Chapter 1180 Supreme Taoism, Ghost Realm. First update. Ghost Boy. Except for some newly promoted Tao Patriarchs, other Tao Patriarchs have basically heard of this name. Master Guizi of the Heavenly Demon Sect, this is a legendary figure whose reputation once reverberated throughout the vast sea world. In the Heavenly Demon Sect, young Master Gui's status is not weaker than those of the 8th Heavenly Supreme Tao ancestors. Guizi's strength is very strong, far surpassing other 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors, and even Tiankla Tao ancestors have publicly admitted that they are inferior to Gui Gongzi. Gui Gongzi didn't like to use the title of Daozu, he liked others to call him Gui Gongzi, so he kept calling him that. Xiying Daozu, hey, I actually don't want to expose it. Young Master Gui appeared, followed by some 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors of the Heavenly Demon Sect. As soon as he appeared, it also represented that the Heavenly Demon Sect had taken refuge in the Heavenly Emperor Palace. 433. The Heavenly Demon Sect is also an 8-layered power, and it is an old-fashioned 8-layered power. I did not expect that it would completely rely on the Tiandi Palace silently, which was beyond everyone's expectations. Ghost Son, you hurry up and delay the time for me. Shi Yingdaozu hurriedly urged. No problem, the ghost boy responded. Wow, Gui Gongzi entered the venue and directly confronted Tianpao Daozu. Boom, the two Taoists collided directly, but young Master Gui didn't move, while Daozi Tianpao flew out. There is no doubt that Tiankla Daozu is not an opponent. At this time, the evil Buddha Dao ancestor and the demon Dao ancestor also joined in, and joined forces to fight against the Gui Gongzi, which only suppressed the Gui Gongzi a little. But in this way, the Heavenly Emperor Palace and the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor of the Tianmo sect suppressed the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor of the Tianai sect, the 10,000 Domains Temple, and the Mission sect. The war continued, and the fighting was brutal. A group of Taoist ancestors such as Yi Tian were watching and did not participate in the fight. In a short time, the three major 8th-level forces of King Kong City, Tianjianzong and Tianfozong participated in the war, apparently negotiating cooperation with the 3-level 9-level forces of Midianzong, Tianheizong and Wanyu Temple. Although there are not many 7th Heavenly Dao ancestors of these three major 8-fold heavenly forces, they are a new force that turned the situation and suppressed the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Unexpected, a 7th-level Heavenly Dao ancestor from the Heavenly Emperor Palace took out a small token with a seriously injured body, mobilized the small token, turned it into a small sword, and directly exploded a blow comparable to the strongest Dao ancestor. Boom! A 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor of Mi Tianzong was directly penetrated by this blow, and the entire body exploded, completely falling and dying. Of course, the 7th-level Taoist ancestor also exhausted his strength and was killed by another 7th-level Taoist from the Heavenly Sea sect. The battle became more and more tragic, and one of the 7th-level Dao ancestors used their trump cards, so the 7th-level Heavenly Dao ancestor continued to be severely injured and even died. Of course, the fallen 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor was only the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor who had less life-saving means, and none of those powerful 7th Heavenly Dao ancestors fell. In a short period of time, the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestors of the Heavenly Emperor Palace had almost exhausted their cards, and their advantages were getting smaller and smaller. And when 7 Heavenly Emperor Palace 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor fell and the line of defense began to gradually collapse, Shi Ying Dao ancestor was also anxious. Ghost Son, quickly use your ghost domain, give me to continue to delay time. Shi Ying Daozu passed the sound. Clear, the ghost boy replied. Ghost domain is the only supreme Taoist technique he has practiced, and its power is terrifying. 7th Heavenly Dao ancestors usually do not practice the supreme Dao technique, because it is too difficult to cultivate, and they are enough to practice the Daqian Dao technique for a lifetime, so there is no need to practice the supreme Dao technique. Moreover, it is not necessarily a good thing for the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestor to cultivate the strongest Dao technique. Xian Taoism contains the Dao of Xian, but other people's Taoism is not suitable for you. Once you practice other people's Taoism, your body will contain the brand of other people's Xian. The consequences of doing so will affect you become the most powerful Taoist by yourself. Under normal circumstances, only those 7th-level Heavenly Dao ancestors who gave up becoming the Supreme Dao ancestor would practice Supreme Dao technique. However, who is willing to give up the hope of becoming the Supreme Taoist ancestor? Therefore, very few people among the 7th Heavenly Dao ancestors practice the Supreme Dao technique. Even if they do, those Dao ancestors themselves have insufficient background, and their strength is not strong. In addition to the Supreme Dao technique, their combat effectiveness is not very powerful. Similar to Heavenly Claw Daozu, Evil Buddha Daozu, Demon Daozu, Shiying Daozu, these 7-level Heavenly Dao ancestors, it is impossible to practice the strongest Dao technique. The reason why young Master Gui is so famous is because he created a Supreme Taoist technique, Ghost Domain. It is precisely because of the Ghost Realm that he has the qualifications and ability to compete with the Supreme Taoist ancestors. A dark wave emerged, covering this area, directly shrouding the Taoist ancestors of the Mission sect, the 10,000 Domains Temple, the Tianai sect, and the other three major 8th-level forces. What makes people speechless is that because the area covered by the Ghost Realm is too large and it is not easy to control, the area where Yitian is located is also covered directly, making Yitian also in the Ghost Realm. Ghost Realm is a kind of Supreme Taoism technique that suppresses the strength of the enemy, but it also has a characteristic of the Dark Forbidden Realm, that is, it creates an illusion, and it is an attack-type illusion, which can even affect the enemy's strength, soul. Once affected by the Ghost Domain, even if the strength is very strong, it is not the opponent of the Ghost Master. Sizzle. A group of Ghost Realm creatures phantoms emerged, appeared beside Yi Tian, AA and surrounded Yi Tian. At this moment, Yi Tian was also angry. Roll. With a cold drink, all these ghostly creatures were shattered into light spots and dissipated. Ghost boy, dare to face my opponent, don't blame me for besieging you too. Yi Tian muttered. Swish. He used the celestial magic steps to come to the battlefield of Tiankla Daozu, Demon Fufu Daozu, Evil Buddha Daozu and Gui Gongzi. At this moment, under the influence of ghost territory, Heavenly Claw Daozu and the others couldn't beat Gui Gongzi at all, and were completely suppressed. According to this 5.8 progress, the three of them will probably lose. It's the Juji Heavenly King. When Tianpao Daozu saw Yi Tian, he was overjoyed. Juji Heavenly King, please help us to besiege Gui Gongzi. Heavenly Claw Daozu asked for help. At this time, the evil Buddha and Taoist also reacted. That's right, the Heavenly King of Juji has a forbidden body of the Dacheng level, and the forbidden realm of the forbidden body of the Dacheng level can definitely compete with the ghost realm. Although the three of us control the power of the dark taboo, but the power of the dark taboo is too weak, without condensed into a taboo body, let alone a small level taboo body, it is impossible to use the taboo field. Once we have the help of the Juji Heavenly King, we can definitely defeat Gui Gongzi. As a result, the Taoist ancestors of Tiankla, the Taoist ancestors of the evil Buddha, and the Taoist ancestors of Fumo sent voice transmissions to Yi Tian and asked him to help.